If you don't think so, maybe it's time to face facts. You're stuck in the past. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report, learn more at discover.com/credit card.
Hurry into DQ for their sauced and tossed chicken strip baskets with flavor from the top, bottom, and everywhere in between. Try them today in Honey Barbecue or New Buffalo, only at DQ. Happy tastes good, only at participating Dairy Queen locations.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
Number 1 on your car radio preset and the new and improved iHeartRadio app. WDAS and WD273D Philadelphia is Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler.
And the pitch. Stott swings and hits one deep. Up the alley, right center. Long run, Hernandez, and it is gone. It clears, and it's a 3-run home run for Bryson Stott. The pitch is lined into right, coming on Marsh. He makes a sliding catch, and that's the ball game. And that's a 3-game sweep for the Phillies over the Toronto Blue Jays as the Phillies.
And that was the wrong cut. Sorry about that. Off and running here, you dummy. Sorry about that. No, that is not it. Yeah, last night's score. Sorry about that. Here we go.
1 ball, 2 strikes. The pitch swung on, hit in the air, right field,
Smooth.
backing up Castellanos to the track near the wall, jumps, makes the catch, bangs into the wall, and he hangs on. And Nick Castellanos makes the catch at the fence. And the Phillies win the ball game.
All right, first thing for all the kids listening out there, delete what you don't need in your folder. Just get rid of it. Because stuff like that happens. Sam Oshtry from The Score joining me today. You got to delete the old files because you just never know.
Always delete them.
Always delete them.
Get rid of them.
You never know. You're going to play something from a 3-game sweep that was a couple days ago. Let's put it that way. Hello, everybody. Another edition of the Daily Ticket coming your way. I believe today is Thursday. All these days are running together for the past couple weeks. Don't ask me why. It could be the fact that I'm getting about 3 hours of sleep daily, nightly, whatever. But that's all right. Nobody's complaining here. Ready to roll. We got a lot to discuss. NBA Finals Game 6. Sam Oshtry, right now, I'm going to ask you point blank. I don't need you to sell me this pin. I don't need a winning wager. I just want to know simply, are we going back to Oklahoma City for Game 7?
Nope.
Yeah.
It ends tonight.
I'm with you.
It ends tonight.
Yeah.
And it's such a great start to a series, kind of feels like an anticlimactic end, which I think also happened in the Stanley Cup too.
Why do you say that?
Because Tyrese Halliburton's injury status.
That's it.
And it seems like he'll play. But at what level is he going to be at without a fully healthy Tyrese Halliburton, a guy who's already been hounded by that Thunder defense?
Oh, yeah.
If he's not fully healthy, if he's not getting into the lane and driving the ball well, this Pacers offense can't function. And we've kind of have seen the Thunder figure them out a little bit over the last game and a quarter, I would say, going back to, I guess it was Game 4 of that fourth quarter when the Thunder had a great comeback and completely shut down the Pacers offense.
Yeah.
Since then, it's kind of been the Thunder from there. And I think that this one ends early.
Yeah, we have some great sound from Rick Carlisle. Of course, that's dated from the standpoint of last night, yesterday, into this morning. And fact is, the recent report, according to Shams, is that Tyrese Halliburton will give it a go. I would assume that, if he's going to miss anything other than you have to chop off his leg, he's going to play an NBA Finals Game 6, right?
Yeah, but that could hurt them. So it's like he's going to give it a go. But we've seen injuries like this happen before with OG Anunoby come back from a hamstring injury. That was probably more severe, but he couldn't even give it a go.
Yeah.
In Game 7 last year in the second round against the Pacers, he was completely hampered out there. And the Thunder already like to target Tyrese Halliburton because he's like a below average. He's not an awful defender, but he's a below average defender. When he has this calf injury, they're going to be targeting him time and time again. And the Pacers may make the decision at some point, we're better off without you. But we'll see how he's moving out there.
Yeah, calf strains are tough. And I think he said yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, that if it was regular season, he probably missed 2 weeks.
100%. Calf strains you don't mess around with calf strains because a lot of times those lead to Achilles. You saw Kevin Durant when he tore his Achilles in that finals against the Raptors. He was coming back from a calf strain injury that he was forced to miss a ton of time in the playoffs. So you don't mess around with calf injuries, but maybe it's not that severe for Tyrese Haliburton where they're comfortable giving it a go, but hopefully nothing worse occurs tonight. But I just don't think he's gonna be able to move at the level that the Pacers need him to move.
All right, well, we do have the point spread in front of us, courtesy of the folks over at DraftKings Sportsbook, and that is Oklahoma City -6. So then let's get into that conversation. I am under the impression that this is going to be an Oklahoma City victory, and therefore I would take OKC to go on the road and cover the number here. But again, this is a team that is battle-tested. Demonic is what I've been saying about them. No Haliburton out there is a big deal, but he's had moments, he's had games, stretches specifically, but definitely a game, if I'm not mistaken, where he was held to, not to say he's non-existent, but the box score is relatively small. So at the end of the day, if you replace him with whether it's a TJ McConnell plus other minutes, will the Indiana Pacers have enough to keep it close? Could they potentially pull out of a home victory with the place rocking? You got McAfee there getting everybody ready to go. It's the NBA Finals, Sam.
It is. And they're so deep, which is part of their strength and why they're where they are right now. Because even when their second unit comes in, it's not that big of a drop-off. But number one, you need to have more from Pascal Siakam. He has not been producing at the level he did last series. And TJ McConnell is great in stretches. I mean, he's been incredible. It seems like no one knows what to do with him. He's so small, but he still is able to create his own shot with push-offs, with fakes, with spin moves, with his great footwork. He shouldn't be able to shoot over some of the guys he's shooting over, but he does. But he gives you sparks and bursts and great shifts. He's not a guy that you're going to rely on for 30-plus minutes in any game. And if that's what the Pacers have to go to, they're in trouble. So, look, all the Thunder wins they've covered in these finals, when they win, they usually can pull away late. Even though I don't think this Pacers team is going to go down easy. If anything we've seen from this entire playoffs, all 4 series, even last game when Tyrese Haliburton was hampered, Pacers made a late run. All of these games have been the Pacers do not give up. They will not give in. So I don't think it's going to be a blow up in any stretch, but I think the Thunder still cover the number.
All right. We got Julian Edlow. He'll be joining the party coming up at 3:30 from DraftKings Sportsbook. A lot to discuss. We're going to get into a little bit of Ace Bailey, some 76ers talk in just a second, but staying with the NBA Finals tonight, front and center. Sorry, Caitlin Clark won't have a screen in my house. Am I the only one in America that doesn't watch?
I think you are. Well, I watch through Twitter, for being honest. I mean, I'll turn on a Caitlin Clark game if there's nothing else on, but I only really watch through Twitter. But I'm intrigued by her. I mean, did you see her comeback when she came back from that injury last weekend?
She had a great game.
But not only that, she had 9 points in 38 seconds. Like, that was fun to watch.
Okay.
Even if you love her, Caitlin Clark, her pulling up to half court and just drilling threes back to back to back, that's fun. It's fun basketball, even if you're sick of the Caitlin Clark discourse, which I sure am.
Yeah, it's just,
it's the conversation surrounding it.
Yeah, it's too much. It's too much. And our own Mark Henry Jr. has it all muted.
Yeah.
I love it. He's just out on all things WNBA.
Well, when it's Angel Reese versus Caitlin Clark, that's when the conversation just becomes brutal.
Well, it's so stupid because it's like, people don't need to be comparing the two. Yeah, there was a little bit of a rivalry there in college. That's not existent right now.
I mean, they're not even on the same stratosphere of players.
But I do like the fact that Angel Reese did trademark me bounds. I love that.
She's good at using her brand to her advantage.
Lord. That is so good. All right. So Sam Oshtry represents the folks over at The Score. He does a great job over there. He's got a bunch of posts up. And yesterday, I'm sitting in my driveway. I got my baby boy in my arm. I'm enjoying the warm weather. It wasn't too hot where I was like sweating, dripping like it is right now. But I wanted to be outside, get the fresh air. He's a little fidgety, man. He's a little fidgety nugget. Yeah, he won't go down. He's like,
took a video of him sneezing the other day.
Yeah, he's got to move. I literally put him to sleep in the driveway by dancing with him. There was a little great.
Why was he sleeping in the driveway?
No, like he's in this little carrier type deal.
Okay.
This little.
I thought his bed was in the driveway. His crib.
Not yet. We still get along. No, he's in this little lounger, and next thing I pull him up. He wants to fall out. But he won't. Like he won't fall out. Excuse me. He won't. He wants to fall asleep.
Yeah.
But he won't. So I'm over there dancing, and next thing he's snoozing. Anyway, so I get an opportunity to grab my phone. I got a cold beer in my hand. Nice job by the folks over at what the hell is the brewery? Why am I drawing a blank over there?
Yards Brewing Company?
No, man, these guys over there in Delaware. I'm such an idiot right now that I can't remember. The folks over at Dogfish. I apologize for not remembering that off the top of my head, but I got a lot going on right now. So I'm enjoying a nice hazy IPA, great beer from Dogfish. And then all of a sudden I'm skimming through the timeline, and I see Sam Oshtry put a tweet out. And Sam Oshtry makes the case on a tweet that this MVP award is not over. It's not a given that it's going to SGA. Now, normally I'll fire a tweet. Normally I'll respond, but I didn't even want to go and do this on the timeline.
I got a text instead.
I texted Sam and go, dude, I love you, but are you out of your mind? Like, there's no way that this award is not going to SGA. And if you missed it 2 days ago, I was very passionate about it. I know Jalen Williams is the talk. He went for 40. He's a great player. He is Robin to Batman. Let's not mistake it. SGA is averaging 30 plus throughout the course of the NBA finals. He is the best player on the floor. Jalen Williams is great at 40. I get it. But the people out there, they're like, oh, look at the numbers. He was 9-1. Now he's 7-1. And now he's 6-1, which is hysterical. It's like, all right. So I text Sam and I'm like, dude, it's not going to happen. And then Sam simply put, you need to read the article. And you had some gems, dude. And I'll tell you what. The one about the Boston Celtics from last year, I'll say it, blew my mind. I don't remember it. But the fact that Tatum, and correct me if I'm wrong here, led the series in points, rebounds, and assists.
Yep.
And still lost, as we know he did to Jaylen Brown, the MVP for the finals. What? I don't even know if I remember it like that. I didn't have a horse in the race, like as far as a bet, but he led in all three of those categories and still did not win. Take us through your thoughts on why that MVP award is still open this year.
So I don't think that Jalen Williams should win the MVP. I would never argue that. I'm telling you why he might win the MVP, and it's because there are 11 voters, media members, who make up the panel. Those guys decide on the MVP. It is just like the regular season MVP. It is a very much narrative, headline, media hype-driven award. And that's what happened with Jaylen Brown last year, where Jaylen Brown came out in the NBA Finals and had a 37 ball to start, or excuse me, a 22 ball, and then a 34 ball, and then another 30 ball in Game 4. So he had a bunch of high-scoring performances where Jason Tatum didn't start the series out as well. Those were Jaylen Brown's moments. He was dominating the headlines, even though Jason Tatum was garnering more defensive attention, similar to SGA did in this series, where SGA is getting all of the defensive attention. All those drives, they're being crowded, and that's creating opportunities for Jalen Williams. Same thing last year with Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum was the guy who all of his drives, they were doubling. The Mavs were sending everything at him, and that helped Jaylen Brown get more opportunities, scoring opportunities, and assist opportunities. Jason Tatum still ends up leading his entire team in points, rebounds, and assists. And he only led by 2 points per game on average over Jaylen Brown, but still led in points, rebounds, and assists. NBA voters like to reward the underdog and not the best player when they have the opportunity to do so. And you saw it even in the NBA Finals in 2015 when the Warriors won their first title. Andre Iguodala won it over Steph Curry. Yeah. And Steph struggled that series by his MVP standard. He still led that team by a massive margin in scoring. He was still the best player and the most impressive player for that Warriors team and the most important player. But Andre Iguodala had some great scoring performances, and he was also guarding LeBron most of the time, even though LeBron still put up exceptional numbers. He was the guy guarding LeBron, and that was the storyline. Headlines drive this award. Coming off of Game 5, everyone's talking about Jalen Williams. Not as much SGA. SGA is leading the scoring by a decent margin over Jalen Williams. People are still talking about Jalen Williams. The headline is Jalen Williams' 40 piece. How much Jalen Williams has elevated his game. And he's been great this entire finals. And part of that is because the Pacers have been hounding SGA when he's bringing the ball up the court.
Yeah.
Jalen Williams has been taking a lot of those ball handling responsibilities, and he's the guy initiating the offense more, and the Thunder are playing Shea more off the ball. So that's giving Jalen Williams more opportunities. So that's a storyline. All these storylines are just building to this moment that Jalen Williams had where he had a 40 ball. You have to have moments that voters remember. And that could be it. I'm not saying it should be. Mm-hmm. I'm not necessarily saying it will be, but don't be shocked when Jalen Williams is handed that trophy.
Oh, shocked. My jaw will be on the ground for the next 3 days. I will be blown away with everything you just said. When you texted me that last night, I said, okay, that great article, great talking point. Fantastic job by you, because it really does open your eyes to the possibility of it. But for crying out loud, he had tennis. The guy's averaging 30-plus points every game.
It's unbelievable.
He's the best player out there.
But it's a quiet 30, right?
It's a quiet 30.
For his standards.
If you don't watch it, sure, it's quiet. But if you're paying attention to the game, even though he had 40 in that game, he's still Jalen Williams had 40 in that game. SG's still at 31 with 10
what
assists.
I mean by a quiet 30 is it doesn't generate the headlines. The next day, Jalen Williams is a talking point. That's what I mean. And even
it's a talking point because people want to be controversial.
Okay, but that voters like to be controversial. Voters have a propensity to reward the underdog. They just do. They like when they have the opportunity, like last year, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Steph Curry, Andre Iguodala. They want to give it to the underdog. Even last series, Tyrese Haliburton, Pascal Siakam. We talked about that together.
Yeah,
Pascal Siakam had no business winning that award. He actually averaged more than Tyrese Haliburton, but Haliburton is everything to that team. He was the most important player in that series against the Knicks. And the best player, no question. But voters like to reward the underdog in these situations. And when the opportunity presents itself and they see a window to do that, they will. And it could be possibly another situation where Jalen Williams could become the youngest finals MVP since Kawhi in 2013, which would be pretty crazy.
I don't know what the numbers were. We'll have to ask Julian coming up at 3:30 from the start of the NBA finals. What do you know what Jalen was listed at the start?
Yeah, he was plus, I have it right here. He was plus 4,000 at the start of the series.
40 to 1 to
40
win.
to 1. Yep.
I got indigestion on that one. I wish I had a piece of that. Yeah, that's a tough pill to swallow. I mean, he like we know he is the Robin to the Batman here. So if you were going to take a flyer on anybody winning other than SGA, and why not? Because SGA was a monster favorite. Do you know what his number was going into it? Like minus 550?
Minus 600.
Okay, so he's minus 550 right now.
Yeah, he's minus 550 right now. So he's still a huge favorite. And he still probably win.
Oh, yeah, he better win. He has to win. He's been the best player on the floor.
I'm an advocate for just giving unless the guy has an awful series, a truly awful series, and has to be carried by his teammates.
Sure.
Always give it to the best player on the team, the most important player on the team. And that was Steph back then.
Not at
all. That was Steph back then. That was Tatum last year. That was Tyrese Haliburton in the Eastern Conference Finals. And that's SGA right now. So it should be his award to win. But voters like to get cute with this thing. They just do. And there's only 11 of them. It's not like it's 100 guys you're pulling. There's only 11.
Where's Dave McMenamin? That's who we need to find. He voted last year for Jaylen Brown and for Pascal Siakam over Tyrese Haliburton. And
did he?
Yeah, I sent you the votings.
I think that was Tim Bontemps. Remember we mentioned his name.
Oh, it was Tim Bontemps. Excuse me, Dave McMenamin.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah. What my bad. I crossed up the white dudes that covered the game for ESPN. Sorry about that. Tim Bontemps. That's who it was. Yeah, because I tagged him in the Instagram.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
He didn't respond.
I never heard a justification out of that for him.
No, look, at the end of the day, I think you're spot on. Where it's like, you know what? How can I make it a little bit about me? Let me have a little agenda here. If I'm one of the voters, and it's just the world that we live in with the state of social media. It's easy to get somebody to look at. We see it all the time, whether it's Hall of Fame voting or the awards for whatever league it is. It's like you're always going to find that one weasel that has no business checking the box next to said player's name. But look, I'm not going to kill Jalen Williams because he had a great series. He had a fantastic game 5, but SGA had a great game 5. SGA saved the series. If it's not for SGA in game 4 in that fourth quarter going for 15 out of his 35, the Oklahoma City Thunder are not winning their first NBA championship. That's it.
And Jalen Williams was the guy that carried through 3 quarters because I thought Shea was pretty bad that game. But then in the fourth quarter, Shea does his thing, a great mid-range jumper that was huge late in that game.
20 going. He had 20 through 3.
Yeah, but not an efficient 20, and that's not great production from him. Like that's not great production.
I'll take 35 anyway. I can get it,
Sam. When you get 15 in overtime, that'll do it. or excuse me, in the fourth quarter, that'll do it. And that's what he did. And he had really
It's
clutch
closing
buckets.
time. What else do you
And
want?
he's the guy. And
Yes.
he's the guy. So that's why I would never give the award to Jalen Williams.
Yes.
But there is a justification and rationale that voters can make in their mind right now where they can tell themselves Jalen Williams had some moments in the series. He generated the headlines. Let's reward him this.
All right. Big question to get the party started here. Get involved with us at Fox PHL.
Can I give you trivia real quick?
Oh, sure.
If Shea wins the MVP,
Okay,
he will be the first player since who to have won the regular season and finals MVP?
Steph Curry.
Nope. Because he didn't win finals MVP when he won
Oh,
in 2015.
shoot.
It was Iggy. A couple years before that, 2013.
Oh God, you're giving me the year too.
Yeah.
2013, wasn't that the run of the Heat? Wasn't okay. And it was it's of the Heat and Spurs in those final 2 seasons. And it like LeBron?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, okay. All right. Yeah, it's got to be
It's
LeBron.
in 2013 with that Heat team.
You know, yesterday I believe was the anniversary of that game 6 where Ray hit the 3-pointer.
Back out to Allen.
Yeah, I
3.
And you know, I remember Pop got something wrong with the benching of I forget what he did.
I think Tim Duncan was out of the game at the time.
Correct.
And they gave up the offensive rebound that Chris Bosh got.
Correct.
Yep.
And then but I had the Spurs in that series, and it's crazy because if that shot is not made, like, are we in LeBron's
legacy?
LeBron is saying some
we talk
wildness.
ring culture.
I can't even.
He's exhausting, man.
Yeah,
like when it's the off season, we love watching you hoop. When it's the off season, can you just go away so no one has to hear your voice and hear you speak?
And that sucks to say.
Brutal.
That really does suck because there's a lot around LeBron. You know, first and foremost, I hate where people are just on that side that just I hate on everything he does, because there are some really good things that he does. And it's specifically that school in Akron. And I love when you bring it up, people are like, oh, it's a tax, right? Like, shut up, dude. You think he's got to attach his name to something? No, he literally wanted to do something great for his community. He goes back to Cleveland, right? Like, he didn't have to go back to Cleveland. Dan Gilbert wrote that. Like, Dan Gilbert, he hated Dan Gilbert. Dan Gilbert hated him. Like, he didn't have to go back to Cleveland, but he wanted to do what was right. He brought a championship back. There are so many good things that I could go on and on about LeBron. But, dude, like, take a page out of Jay-Z's book and just less is more.
Yeah.
We don't need to hear from you, the podcasting and now the whole ring culture. And it's like, I can't even, you want to put context on this quote, but I can't listen to that podcast. I can't.
Oh, it's awful. But with JJ Redick was great.
JJ's really damn good on the microphone.
Here's the irony is that this whole idea of this podcast is we're strictly going to talk about X's and O's. We're not talking about all the stuff the media's talking about. But then what did you talk about this week that generated all the headlines? And probably was your most listened to podcast of this season. Ring culture.
Yeah. It's probably because he's like, pulling Steve Nash across the finish line, who, by the way, is a nice dude, but not a guy that's really all that great on a microphone. Very quiet and calm.
That podcast was good last year because JJ Redick was the one talking X's and O's. And JJ's a brilliant media guy and just a communicator. So that's why it was a good podcast. I used to watch every episode last season. We'll never tune in for this season.
Yeah, it's tough. And like I said, I hate to rip on LeBron because he's one of the best players of all time. But it's like, dude, come on. The only thing you're trailing Jordan in is the rings. And now you're trying to make it about X, Y, and Z. And again, I'm not even into this because of the context that I'm probably missing. But at the same time, like, he's not that deep. LeBron is not that deep, right? No. He tries to come off like he is, but he's not. And again, I don't want to rip on him because I love LeBron. I do it and came up, witnessed all that. Like, dude, single-handedly took the baton for the league and had me tuning in. And that's an interesting little segue here, because if we could squeeze this in before Julian joins us at 3:30, I did have some other things I want to get to. But last night, the Lakers were sold for $10 billion. I think I saw something over, it was valued at like $6 billion or $7 billion. So $3 billion over what they were truly valued at, according to whoever values these franchises. And we just know how iconic they are, of course, how many championships they have won. When you think about American sports teams, you think about the Cowboys, you think about the Lakers, you think about the Yankees. That's it. Stop, right? But $10 billion.
A lot of money.
It'd
be nice to have $10 billion.
And all I know is, right, you would never think that the Buss family would never have majority stake in the LA Lakers. But when the price is right, everybody's got a price. 10 billion is 10 billion. But is there something else? And you're a good guy to ask this because you pay attention somewhat to the ratings. And it's not even about that, but it's about everything. Like Cuban's out at Dallas. That's something I never thought we would see. It just feels like no ownership. Nobody cares anymore. Like, I don't care who owns the Sixers. Like, think about it. Josh Harris, who owns the Commanders, owns the 76ers. Yeah. If you told me that was going to be the case 20 years ago, I would have lost my mind. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, whatever. Like, no way you can. I'm like, who cares? I feel like there's just nothing that attaches us to these teams anymore. That's it. And I don't, and I don't think it's going to ever be better. Ratings feel like they're coming down. You know, you see some things that are happening around the world as far as streaming are concerned. You know, you look at the Major League Baseball with ESPN. Sorry, or ESPN says, no, we're good. You know, so we're out on Sunday Night Baseball. Like, there are so many. I just feel like we could be running into a situation here with sports across the board, or am I off my rocker? That at the end of the day, live sports are going to control all and command big money and blah, blah, blah. But it feels like, all right, you know, more and more as we move into the future here, that like these contracts are going to blow up. Like, it's just, have we just hit a spot right now where it's about as good as it's ever going to be? And the only way we're going from here on out is down.
Well, with this Lakers situation, it does have to do with that to a degree in terms of the contracts that they were going to have to give out, because the Lakers have been run as a mom and pop shop. And what that means is that their only revenue stream was the Los Angeles Lakers. Like, that was a profitable business for the Buss family. Almost all other owners, not just in basketball, but in most professional sports, those teams that they own are secondary revenue streams for them. And that's an investment that they make. They have their other businesses, whether it's hedge funds or whatever. A lot of these guys are hedge funds partners or whatever it is, but that's where they accumulate actually their wealth from. And then they make the investment in this team, and these teams are secondary incomes for them. The Lakers were different. And that's kind of why I think a big reason why they sold that team is because now they have real cash. The entire Buss family, of course, it was Dr. Jerry Buss who owned the team in 1979, and he owned it up until he died, I believe was 2013, and then Jeannie Buss, and she has 5 siblings. So now all this money that they just sold it for, $10 billion, becomes that's cash that they actually can have now. So now they have real money and aren't just relying on the Lakers as a revenue stream. So what that meant for the Lakers and the rest of the league is that they didn't have a ton of money to spend. Like, their entire like ethos, I guess, was based on their brand and the glitz and glamour of Los Angeles. And that's how they attracted stars, like the history of the franchise and just LA's cachet. But now you don't have to rely on that anymore, because you have Mark Walter coming in, who actually is a Los Angeles guy. This guy is the guy who owns the Dodgers. Yeah. He is a Los Angeles sports fan. He cares about Los Angeles. He has a ton of cash. He is willing to invest that cash, and he'll invest in all the departments that needed to be invested in. It's the analytics department, the health and fitness department, the researchers, the PR, whatever it is. All of those departments will be properly compensated now in a way the Lakers didn't always do. So yeah, it does. I think partly has to do with ratings and the direction everything's going. But this is more to me about just the contracts and how much more expensive the NBA is getting at this point. And the Buss family wants no part of that. So they're saying, let's cash out while we can. Yeah.
And look, Cuban out, right? Like I said, it feels like there's a lot.
But Cuban defends the ratings still.
You could defend the ratings, but there's more to it, the conversations, than just ratings.
I don't think, to answer your earlier question, I don't think live sports will ever not be a thing.
No, I'm with you there. I wouldn't, but there are levels to it. And where we're
at right now. The way we consume live sports. Like I'll use, for example, my generation, our attention spans are really, really poor. I mean, that's why TikTok's so
you guys
successful.
Grew up on Cocomelon. That's the issue.
What's Coco?
All right, thank God you didn't grow up on that. Anyways, but that's ruining attention spans right now
TikTok.
For toddlers. Oh yeah, even worse.
Grew up on TikTok, and it's like no one can pay attention. Nobody knows how to read. Nobody knows how to write. Nobody has to do the basic things.
So sad.
You depend on ChatGPT.
My Lord.
Yeah. So I think the attention spans of people in my generation are so shot it's going to be different how people actually consume live sports, where it's going to be through social media, and you're seeing that more and more. But live sports will always exist, and that platform and that medium will always exist, but the worth of live sports may decrease just based off of people can't sit down and watch a 2-hour basketball game anymore because their attention spans are just getting worse and worse and worse. And that's a result of social media. But the leagues are benefiting from social media because that's how other people are consuming their content, and they're counting that as popularity.
Yeah,
if you're consuming it on social media, that's still consuming the NBA. So that's still a fan of the NBA, a viewer of the NBA.
Well,
and that's how the NBA counts.
I just look at what these contracts are that's coming up as far as with NBC, right? And I don't even think they have the finals, which is hysterical to me, right? You look at last
ESPN still has the finals.
Correct. You look at last year, what the numbers were with Boston Celtics. I don't think the numbers did all well last year in the NBA finals, right? You look at what's happening right now. I get it. We're not even going to get into that, but I think we have seen the best of the best as far as that category is concerned, as far as the NBA. And that's why you get bust again. The almighty dollar controls all. You float 10 million in front of me, 3 billion over what was projected value. Then of course you have to take it. She's still involved, but it's crazy because you would just think that the Buss family would always be the number one ownership group as far as the Lakers are concerned, like we talked about with Cuban. Anyways, a lot to get to. Julian Edlow from DraftKings Sportsbook back over to the NBA Finals. Does he believe the MVP award could go to Jalen Williams? We'll talk about some of that movement is concerned. And we also have some odds on the NBA draft. And Sam Oshtry has done a great job with Jack Forrest, who's a hooper. I didn't know he balled.
Yeah, he plays over in Greece.
Is he in Greece?
Yeah, well, he's here now, but for the summer. But yeah, he plays in Greece.
What was he, at Bucknell?
Yeah.
You're throwing down dunks, bro. Anyways, Jack Forrest and Sam Oshtry on the clock. It's our NBA draft special shows. We got 2 of them. We're going to roll one out tomorrow again at 5 o'clock. We got more on tomorrow as we're live from Citizens Bank Park, or Xfinity Live, for the big series between the Mets and the Phillies. But Julian's going to talk a little bit more about the NBA draft and specifically Ace Bailey rejecting the 76ers. The city of no love, Sam Oshtry. Ace wants no part of Philadelphia, but
fully shouldn't want any part of him.
It seems like he doesn't want to go anywhere. This dude's an interesting cat. We'll talk about Ace Bailey, the movement as far as the odds are concerned. Should we be reading into it a little bit more? With Julian Edlow from DraftKings Sportsbook. All things NBA Finals, Game 6, other side. Back after this.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival,
presented by Capital One,
is coming back to Las Vegas.
September 19th and 20th, streaming live only on Hulu.
And you can be there
for a weekend full of superstar performances, never-before-seen collaborations, and once-in-a-lifetime artist moments you'll have to see to believe. Tickets are on sale now at AXS.com. Get your tickets today at AXS.com. And we'll see you at our 2025 iHeartRadio Music Festival.
Presented by Capital One.
Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.
Jan up on the Walt Whitman into New Jersey down to 42 south of the Black Horse Pike. In Deffert, Delsey Drive is blocked between Fox Run Road and Brenner Avenue with a fuel spill. 95 northbound, stop to go Allegheny up to Bridge, southbound Jan Cottman to the Betsy Ross. Liar to tell it, total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Amazon Prime Day.
If you love deals, you'll love this. Prime Day is lasting 4 days this year. That's 4 days of unbelievable deals in every category you can think of. So you can save big on everything you're into. Shop Prime Day, July 8th through the 11th.
I have heart failure, and being out of breath all the time was just too much. I also have other symptoms like carpal tunnel syndrome and lower back pain, and I thought something's really off. That's why I talked to my cardiologist about ATTR-CM, or transthyretin cardiac amyloidosis.
ATTR-CM is a serious heart condition often accompanied by other non-heart-related symptoms. It's a condition that gets worse over time, so starting treatment early is important. Talk to your cardiologist today to see if you have ATTR-CM. Vindamax, tafamidis, is a prescription pill taken once a day to treat adults with ATTR-CM to reduce death and hospitalization for heart problems. Tell your doctor about all your medications, medical conditions, and if you have liver problems or breastfeeding, pregnant, or plan to be. There are no known side effects with Vindamax. For prescribing information, call 1-877-278-9632. Learn more at Vindamax.com.
Ask your doctor about ATTR-CM.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Stuck in the same day-to-day routine? Wake up, go to work, eat, sleep, repeat. Break through the boredom this summer and download Call of Duty Mobile for free. Enjoy fan-favorite maps, modes, and operators from classic Call of Duty titles, plus new mobile exclusive content. Today doesn't have to suck. Cure your boredom for free with Call of Duty almost anywhere, anytime. Call of Duty Mobile is available on both the Apple App Store and Google Play Store for free today. Rated M for mature.
With great deals coming this Prime Day, July 8th through the 11th, greatness is a deal away. So if you love baking, you can get a deal on a new mixer, transforming you into the Lord of the Loaves.
Hear ye! Make way for the badding of brioche, the sultan of sourdough, the lord of the loaves, Prime Member Dave!
Yeah, hi?
Shop great deals this Prime Day, July 8th through the 11th.
Level up your summer projects with 4th of July savings on top brand cordless power tools from the Home Depot. Whether you're working on a fence, a planter box, or a new workbench, get the power and runtime you need with the Ryobi One Plus 18-volt 2 toolkit from the Home Depot for only $99 plus $139. Get 4th of July savings on the cordless power you need to make summer projects easier than ever. Right now at the Home Depot.
iHeartRadio just gave driving an upgrade with Presets, now on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Your go-to stations, podcasts, and playlists, all just a tap away on your dash. Start your engine, hit play, and drive happy. Free with iHeartRadio on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from IQ Bar. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at eatiqbar.com/policy/terms of service.
Most protein bars are packed with sugar, carbs, and unpronounceable ingredients. There's a much better option. I'm Will, and I crafted IQ Bar plant protein bars with clean, functional, delicious ingredients to empower doers like you with superior brain and body fuel.
Now you can get 20% off all IQ Bar products plus free shipping when you text IQ Bar to 64,000. That's IQ Bar to 64,000.
You want to see basketball played the way it's supposed to be? Tune in to Ice Cube's Big Three this summer. Watch stars like Dwight Howard, Kemba Walker, Joe Johnson, Michael Beasley, and many more, along with Hall of Fame coaches. Experience the fast pace and physical play and fun action that defines the game. You know what it is. It's the Big Three. Catch the best professional 3-on-3 players in the world live every weekend on CBS and Vice. Oh, yay, yay!
Hey, man, you all right? Need me to call 911? No, call Top Dog Law. Get top dollar for your accident at topdoglaw.com. Once again, that's topdoglaw.com. Game 6 NBA Finals going down this evening. Oklahoma City could potentially be locking up their first NBA championship. Sam Oshtry from The Score riding with us here on Thursday. Folks, every Thursday at 3:30, we get the best of the business, giving us all the line movement, all the right information to set us up for success, no matter the sport. Even hockey. This dude dials it in. Just don't ask him about anything golf related. Right? Other than that, Julian Edlow from DraftKings Sportsbook joins us right now on this beautiful afternoon here in the Delaware Valley. Julian, great to have you, sir. A lot to discuss. Of course, NBA Finals, Oklahoma City, as I said, Game 6 tonight. But I want to open up with this because you texted me a little earlier, and we haven't hit on it too. It is a situation that is taking place right now with a gentleman by the name of Ace Bailey. And people are like, who the hell is Ace Bailey? Well, you haven't been paying attention to college basketball. And of course, you don't know the NBA draft, which, oh, by the way, is 1 week away today, next Thursday?
6 days away.
It's Wednesday now.
Wednesday. Moved up. This is a 2-day event now.
Aha. So Julian texts me and says, NBA draft number 3 pick movement opened. Ace Bailey at -120, currently at +330. The hell is going on with this guy right now, Ace Bailey, Julian Edlow? And do you think my man is talking himself out of potentially a top 5 pick, top 10? What is going on with Ace Bailey?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm as plugged in NBA draft-wise as I have been in years past, but this one, you know, if there was an Ace Bailey over-under on the board, which there is not, I wish there were, I would be looking over. And it would have opened 3.5, and it would be much higher than that now, 4.5, 5.5. It seems like Ace Bailey is a super talented player that hasn't done anything over the past year to really help himself off the court. You I heard his manager was looking to charge fees for interviews while he was in college. He's dipping out of the workout with the Sixers now, and 3 is his ceiling in the draft. You should want to work out for that team. I know everybody kind of lies about their height to a degree, but he was listed at 6'10" in college and then measured in at 6'7.5" at the combine.
Ooh, that's impressive.
You're really trying to turn yourself from like 6'10", I don't know, like, Paul George type of range into Kevin Durant type of range, just height wise. But skill wise, like this is a not even to I know things didn't go well with Paul George for you guys in Philly last year, but just like an overarching view.
Next year's a different year, Julian.
Sure.
Next year's a different year.
Yeah, it always is.
Keep telling yourself
Ace Bailey's like a Paul George type of prospect. Like that's his game, kind of. He definitely needs to expand his versatility, but as a scorer, he's a tough shot maker. He elevates over the top. Like he's probably the 3rd best prospect in this draft. So the fact that he's not going 3rd anymore and sliding to 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in mock drafts shows that there's some stuff going on off the court. And VJ Edgecombe, who I do like a lot and is a much more safe pick, I would say. Opened plus 140 to be the 3rd pick. He's now minus 170. And 42% of the money on DraftKings Sportsbook is on VJ Edgecombe to be that number 3 pick, whether Philly's making it or not.
Sam, just quickly on the pre-draft cycle, he's not working out for everybody. Like, what is it? Just Sixers related? What is the deal here?
He's not working out for anybody.
Why?
That's a great question. That's what people are trying to figure out. Apparently, he wanted a promise from some teams. That's not how this works. He's not getting a promise. I don't know exactly. I will say with the Sixers situation, Daryl Morey went to many Rutgers games this year, like more than 2 Rutgers games this year, Daryl Morey. So he scouted him in person. He's very familiar with Ace Bailey. They did interview him at the Combine. So it's not like they've never talked to him. You'd rather get him in your facility. You can work out himself, take him out to dinner, all that stuff that they had scheduled for today and tomorrow. But it's not like Daryl Morey is not familiar with Ace Bailey. He's very familiar with him. And like Julian said, the second that this pick was announced, the Sixers had it at 3. I tweeted, VJ Edgecombe is the guy. They should not be drafting Ace Bailey. And it felt like that's more of a Daryl Morey pick, too, to go with Edgecombe over Ace Bailey. And there are many reasons I'm not a fan of Ace Bailey's shot selection and efficiency. Just a lot of that doesn't translate for what the Sixers need immediately, which is a win-now player. So I was under the impression this would be VJ Edgecombe as is. But it seems like Ace Bailey isn't doing himself any favors.
Do you think he's completely off the board, or do you think there's?
I don't think he's completely off the board. I still think it's a consideration because Daryl Morey has done those prior scouts. They don't need him in for a visit. And look, the Sixers also didn't have a workout in-house with Tyrese Maxey or Jared McCain. 2 picks that were obviously much later in the first round, but 2 picks that Daryl Morey nailed. So he doesn't need to see him in-house necessarily. I always thought VJ Edgecombe was ahead on the Sixers board, ahead of Ace Bailey. I still think it's that way. So I don't think this changes that much, but it's not just a Sixers thing. Now we're looking at how far is Ace Bailey going to fall because he won't work out for anybody. And the name that comes to mind for me is like, this is kind of could be a Shedeur Sanders situation where a lot of the same stuff where it's like this guy was Shedeur Sanders was more like tanking interviews. The reports were at the time, but it's similar where you could see that free fall happen.
All right. Julian, before we get into game 6 tonight, anything else from the NBA draft grabbing your attention? Odds movement, anything that DraftKings has up right now? And then your boy Brian Scalabrine, man, I know he's got a spot in everybody's Boston sports fans' heart up there, but he said Cooper Flagg, if he had to go with the non-white guy comparison, was LeBron James. Like, dude, what are we doing right now? Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's aggressive. I've heard Kawhi Leonard for Cooper Flagg. I like the versatility. I don't have a good comp for Cooper Flagg. We'll see what he is.
Yeah.
I think he's a little bit
unique.
I think he's a little bit overrated.
Whoa.
But he is unique. Like I don't
overrated in what sense? Like you don't think he's going to be this
saying he's like the second best prospect of the last however many years behind Wembanyama. I don't think he's good. He's the clear-cut number 1 pick. Would you rather have, I don't know if people have seen enough of like AJ Dibansa, who's going to be number 1 in next year's draft. who's originally from the Boston area and then played high school out in Utah, and he's got the big NIL deal at BYU. I haven't seen enough of him to know, but like next year we could be talking about another player in the same light. Like it just we're always hyping up the next guy. I think Cooper Flag's good. We'll see if he can be great. He's young.
If you were to predict, do you think in 5 years he'll be a perennial All NBA guy?
He should be an all-star every year.
Okay, so a step
All
below.
NBA is better than an all-star though,
Yeah.
by like 10 players or so.
Yeah.
So I'll commit to all-star.
I could get down with all-star too, man. All NBA. That's
what people are expecting.
He's got to grow to get to that level. He will. He's young. He's what, 19?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. 5 years.
I'll commit to all-star.
I'll take that. I'll take odds on that he's not. I think he's a great player, and I love him. Obviously, who didn't? But anything else in the NBA draft grabbing your attention from odds though? 1 week out.
So markets are on and off the board at DraftKings Sportsbook. I will say DraftKings Sportsbook is what everybody's got first pick, second pick through like top 5 picks up. There's some top 10 markets. DraftKings Sportsbook is well beyond any other book right now in terms of offerings. I think some of these just went down in terms of draft positions and who's drafted first, but that we've had them up and they'll be back up. This one might have moved after the last day or two, but last I looked, VJ Edgecombe was minus 165 just to be taken ahead of Ace Bailey. Doesn't matter what pick, just Edgecombe ahead of Bailey was minus 165. That intrigues me if it's still under 200. And I did bet Malawach, the big center from Duke, 7'2", freshman. He's from South Sudan. He only played like half the game. He played about 21 minutes per game, 8 points, 6 rebounds, block and a half. He shot 72% from the field. He was almost 80% from the line, which I think is the key here. People like these bigs to have touch. He didn't shoot threes in college, but can you develop that player? Like, look at the jump shot that Joel Embiid developed as that raw prospect. Like if they can stretch out his jump shot with the game that he has, I think a lot of teams are going to be interested. His draft prop was 8.5. I wrote up an article minus 120 to under 8.5. Anywhere from 3 to 8 should be realistically in his range. I don't think the Sixers necessarily take him with Embiid on the roster, but is there a trade? 3 to 8 is much more likely for Malawach than slipping to 9 or beyond, I think.
All right. You can get all of Julian's great content at dknetwork.com. Check out everybody over there at DraftKings, including our own Sean Bernard, which I saw he had an article on the NBA draft, if I'm not mistaken, earlier today.
He did a good mock draft for us. And I think Sean's working for DK Network on draft night as well, I believe.
How about that? We're actually I'm taking him to his first NASCAR race on Sunday. We're going to Pocono 400 on. Yeehaw! No. Full disclosure.
My next NASCAR race would be my first as well.
There are NASCAR races around here?
Pocono, bro. Pocono, right up the way. Stop. So here you go. You like this, Sam.
Julian, your invite must have got lost in the mail.
Yeah,
too.
you know who we're going courtesy of the great Governor Shapiro.
Really?
Yeah, the Gov dialed me back up. Not exactly him, but
what did he say?
Yeah, they say, hey, we're doing something up there for the Pocono 400 with Visit Pennsylvania, right?
Visit Philly.
Yeah. Pennsylvania, whatever. I should probably know that a little bit more. I will read the fine print. But yes, so we're going to head up on NASCAR Sunday.
Is Governor Shapiro going to be there?
Yeah, man. Going to get him on the We're going to do a little podcast up there, a little hit.
Really?
Sean and myself. Yeah, we're going to talk some shop with the Gov. Maybe pick a winner on DraftKings Sportsbook. All right.
He must have heard that hit that we did about
That's
him.
it. That's
Even
it.
Sean didn't give him his support like
No,
us.
He did not. All right, Julian, let's get on over to Game 6. Here we go. Tonight. Simple question. We going back to OKC for Game 7?
Probably not.
Yeah,
but that doesn't mean I wouldn't take the points with Indy. Just because OKC covered the last game on the road to now be 1-8 on the road ATS. It took like the worst minute of finals basketball we've seen from Ben Mathurin to tank that game, not from just losing it, but to not covering it. I think a little bit of this game, I think of my Celtics last year who dominated the Mavericks in that series as a whole. But when they had a chance to close it out on the road, they played neck and neck for about 6 minutes and then got mopped by the Mavericks for 42 minutes. I don't know if you remember that game. It's the most forgettable part of the finals. They lost by like 40 to the Mavericks in Game 4. dominated the rest of the series. I could see OKC, this young team, chance to close out on the road, tightening up a little bit. I would love him in a game 7. I would love him early, first quarter, first half in a game 7 if Indy were to win this game. But I don't know if OKC can just go on the road with or without Halliburton and win this game with margin. So I'm not playing the side or the total, but I would look at Indy.
Are you playing anything this evening?
Yeah, I am going to go to the props because I think Halliburton gives it a go. I don't think he's going to be himself. We just saw him play 32 minutes and go scoreless. This is an injury he would clearly be sitting out with. I'm not telling you he's going to go scoreless tonight, but I don't think he can be as much of a factor. And I think if him being on the floor over like a TJ McConnell arguably cost Indy a chance at that game. They probably would have lost anyway, but I think you got to get more guys, your Matherins, your McConnells on the floor for some minutes for Halliburton here if he doesn't come out and look himself, and I'm not expecting him to. So without Halliburton in the mix, I'm all just some little same game parlays tonight, to be honest, which usually isn't my style. But
yeah,
McConnell, 10 points, 10 plus points, 3+ assists with tie in a Halliburton under. So I went under 13.5 points. You could go under 25.5 points, rebounds, assists. Obviously, that's super correlated. McConnell getting minutes or production over hobbled Halliburton, that ties together. So I did the 10 points, 3 assists for McConnell with Halliburton under, I think it was 14.5 points at the time. Now it's 13.5. That was plus 220. So I don't mind that. That ties together well. And then Siakam is like, OKC has every advantage on the floor. The only mismatch Indy has all series seems to be Siakam. He's averaging over 20 points, close to 8 rebounds, over 4 assists, 2 steals, a block and a half. Like, he's the only guy that kind of gives OKC problems they don't have an answer for. So Siakam, 20+ points with 6+ rebounds. He's gone for 20+ in the last 3 games. He's got 6 or more rebounds in every game of the series. Siakam 20-6 was plus money last I looked, so that'll be my prop there.
I like the angle. Love the angle. Love the TJ McConnell stuff. It's funny. Yesterday, he had the same odds to win the NBA Finals MVP as Chet Holmgren, something that I never would have dreamed would have been the case. Clearly,
that doesn't add up.
He's faded off the board in the last 24 hours, but still, we are now back up to 14.5 for Tyrese Halliburton as far as take that back. Sorry, 13.5 right here, minus 105. He's averaged 18.5. He went over 3 straight. Of course, what took place in game 5. I love that thought process. So here we are, and that's going to be something that we will learn pretty early, right? I would imagine we're going to see what he has in the tank, and 14.5 is a number they could get to, or 14 is a number they could get to, but I like where you're going with targeting him as far as the injury is concerned. Let's talk a little bit about from OKC's perspective here. And Jalen Williams, what he did in the previous game, 40. Sam and I were talking. He did a great article over at The Score where he was making the reference to Boston last year. And he pointed out last year that Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum led points, rebounds, and assists and still lost that MVP award. 2 parts on Jalen here for your mind here. First of all, 23.5. Do you think he backs that up, that 40-point performance, and goes over this number, sails over this number, has had great finals just like SGA? And do you think that the MVP award is remotely up for grabs, or is it slam dunk in SGA's favor?
Yeah, I have less of a feel for OKC tonight, but I do have, and this is just a feeling rather than anything with numbers to back it. I have a feeling that we could see, and it was a different series at 3-0, but that we could see OKC look a little bit like Boston on the road with a chance to close it out last year. Clearly the better team, but just not necessarily ready for the moment against a completely desperate team. So I don't want to play any OKC overs in case they just don't look right. That said, the role players for OKC have been awesome at home and not great on the road, besides maybe a game from Caruso. So it's going to be the stars carrying them. If you made me play something OKC related, it's probably Jalen Williams points over. I think SGA should have a pretty good game, and we'll see if they get enough from other guys to close this out. MVP wise, it's probably going to be SGA. A lot of people are making the argument, like, last I looked, it was SGA minus 550, but Thunder Series minus 2,000 of just, you got to take that discount and lay if you're somebody with the type of bankroll to lay big numbers, lay a 550 with SGA and you're getting, a quarter of the price on the finals winner there, because it is slam dunk SGA. I don't know if it's slam dunk. Like, Tatum was pretty good. He wasn't totally himself, but he was pretty good in the East Finals and in the NBA Finals when Jaylen Brown was just a little bit better. So we just saw that voters have the ability to go the other way on some of these things. Even I'll go back. Like, a lot of people thought when the Celtics lost that 7-game series to the Heat, when they were down 3-0 and then lost Game 7 at home, a lot of people thought Caleb Martin should have been the MVP. It was Jimmy Butler. I agree it should have been Jimmy Butler. But the voting was 5-4. It was 5 Butler, 4 Caleb Martin. So again, that's an even more extreme example of voters not being afraid to kind of go off the path a little bit. And a lot of, like, we just saw it in hockey. You said I talk hockey off the top. I don't, but I'm going to make one comparison. The MVP was Conn Smythe Award.
Yeah.
And it's for the whole playoffs, so totally different comp.
Yeah.
That was kind of up in the air in the last one, and then the dude has 4 goals, right, in the clincher. So it's, we go his way. It's like, well, if SGA has 40 tonight or in Game 7 and they win, it's him. What if it's Jalen Williams that gets 40 again in the clincher? That's really going to leave an impression. So I'm not telling you to go bet plus 750 on Jalen Williams, but I'm open to the idea that for the first time since the series started, it's not almost matching prices for OKC series SGA MVP.
And another reference
that
to
angle.
that too is Tyrese Halliburton and Pascal Siakam last series, where Tyrese Halliburton was walking up to the podium because he believed it was him. And I would have, if you asked me 100 times out of 100, I would have said Tyrese Halliburton is the MVP of the series. I don't know how you watched that series and came away with a different conclusion, but 5 of the 9 voters did. So obviously it's split. And I'm with you where I made the case for Jalen Williams. I don't think he should make it. I made the case of why he might make it based on voters and finals MVP voters history. I just don't think that if Jalen Williams has an awesome game tonight, like he has another 40 ball, even a 35 ball, and like Shea has another 30 piece, but he's a little more under the radar. It's Jalen Williams' show. I think Jalen Williams is going to win it, assuming the Thunder win. It's a clinching game tonight. I think Jalen Williams has a good chance of winning the MVP. So at a price of plus 600, I think you take that.
Oh, it's down to 600 now, huh?
Yeah.
I haven't looked at it today. It was 750 yesterday. So people are betting.
It opened at 40-1, Julian, to start the series at Jalen Williams. Was he at 40-1
I don't have the opener in front of me, but
that's just crazy.
That sounds about right. If you, SGA essentially matched the series price.
Yeah,
that makes everybody else a long shot unless you're going indie.
Yep. All right, Julian Edlow, fantastic follow all over everything. As I said, all one word, full name, Julian Edlow. And he's got some interesting odds as far as NBA draft is concerned, of course, with Benedict Mathurin. Some numbers courtesy of DraftKings Sportsbook. Trust me when I tell you, give him a follow and be sure to check out everything over at DK Network. Let's keep it moving. And, I'm just going to dip my toes into the football water just a little bit there. But again, with the NBA finals going off this evening, front and center NBA in our minds. And we were talking about this, and I'm just curious if you have a take on the fact that the Lakers were just sold for $10 billion. And I'm not going to ask you about that, but we stumbled into a conversation just before you. And I was wondering whether or not we should be reading a little bit more into the fact that Mark Cuban, which I thought he'd be associated with the Mavericks forever, he's out. Now the Buss family, sorry, we're out. You got these contracts that are changing. We constantly are changing right now the way we consume sports with streaming and everything. Big picture question. I just want to know what your thoughts are. Do you think the NBA, not in trouble by no means, I'm not saying they're in trouble, but I think this is the promised land. I don't think it could ever go up from here. And that's not to say they're going to take a huge dip. But last year, we talked about the Celtics. That's a pretty good team, the Boston Celtics. Entertaining. Ratings weren't all that good. This year, we know it, blah, blah, blah. Not going to get into the ratings. I just wonder, like maybe we should be looking at the NBA, the product, sports as whole. Like, yeah, I think we might be seeing things change a little bit over these next few years. I don't know. Where do
Can
you
I make
stand?
this a two-parter for Julian?
Oh,
real
go
quick?
right ahead,
Are
Sam.
you like some other Celtics fans I see on the timeline where you're pissed that the Celtics were sold last year for $6 billion and the Lakers were sold for $10 billion? Or are you not as salty as some of those other guys?
No, that doesn't make me pissed off. I would say the Celtics are worth more than 60% of the Lakers. I think that's fair to say. Now, that Luka trade now has to be worth how much money? I'm not smart enough to be in this stratosphere of dollars and figure out how much that was worth. But like, is it 8 before the Luka trade? I don't know. But yeah, I'm not bitter about it. But if you asked me, like, are the Celtics worth 60% of the Lakers over under? I would go over. In terms of the league, no, the league isn't in trouble. They have so much money. Everything's going to keep going up. You said it's hit its peak. It has to keep going up. If people are going to, smart business people are going to keep buying these teams for this much. Like, I don't know. I didn't think the McDonald's dollar menu was ever going to be gone. Now everything on it's like $4.
Yeah. So true, man.
There's our common man's comp right there.
Nice work.
The Lakers got to, they got to be worth more. The Celtics got to be worth more. I'll say this: you want a bargain bin? A-Rod and Lurie just bought. A-Rod just bought the T-Wolves for like $1.5 billion. How long ago was that?
That's crazy to think about.
That was like a couple of years ago. That's a great deal. If I had $1.5 billion, that's what I'd be doing, buying the Timberwolves when all these other teams are going for 6 to 10. So yeah, it can't be a bad thing for the league though. It's going to keep going up.
All right. And then finally, a quick question on this, and teach their own. Like I get so bogged down, and it's a me thing. I get caught up, and it's like, I don't want to. Like, I'll tune into the WNBA. I used to watch it. I did even before Caitlin Clark, and I was a Kelsey Plum fan, and whatever. Now there's all this other stuff, but I'm curious from the betting perspective. Are you hearing from people that follow this stuff, that wager on it, that there is a little bit of an edge to be made as far as wagering on the WNBA, or people making money on the WNBA? Anything there as far as wagering on that league itself, or is it just basically all the money that comes in, it's on Caitlin Clark, and you get a lot of Johnny fans out there that are just firing on anything Caitlin Clark positive numbers?
It's both now because of the new crowd that Caitlin Clark has brought in. It's always going to be Caitlin Clark, one of the most bet props of the night, and that Caitlin Clark over money is always going to be there. But I still think there is a little bit of an edge to WNBA, and I'm not quite as into it as I will be maybe in July and August. What I think the WNBA still has is a hint of predictability that the NBA used to have and now doesn't, with these Pacers and Heat teams and Mavericks teams last year that make runs. The NBA used to be pretty predictable when, 25 years ago, Lakers, Sixers, knock yourself out in Philly, but we knew who was going to win that series. Minus 2,000 Lakers price on that series in Vegas at the time. Like, I feel like we knew the Spurs were going to beat LeBron's Cavs the first time we got there. Like, we knew the Warriors were going to beat the Cavs in those last Durant teams. That's really the end of it. Like, when the Raptors beat the Warriors, since then, that's been a new champion every year, and there's been new surprise teams. I think that element is a little bit has not occurred yet in the WNBA, and you can, short answers, bet a little bit more chalk, put a couple favorites together on a parlay, or bet a bad spot, and you're going to win more often than you would right now in the NBA.
Interesting. I'm glad we got into that discussion there. Just get your take on it, because look, tonight, Caitlin Clark's in action. I'll have to tune in a little bit here. 22 plus as far as her points are concerned on DraftKings Sportsbook, over 21.5 on even money. Come on, she's got that in the bank. No,
she's been good. I mean, she looked great when she came back that first game from injury. I'm just pulling up our email here. Let's see. I got nothing in the email on that. I will get you on DK Network. You can look this up on your own. Most bet player props. I'm on the tool right now. Let's see if Caitlin Clark is the most bet player. Of course she is. Caitlin Clark 20 plus at minus 170 is the most bet prop.
Wow.
Third most bet prop, Caitlin Clark to score the first points of the game, plus 450. Fourth most bet prop, Caitlin Clark over 8.5 assists, minus 135. Fifth most bet prop, Caitlin Clark double-double, even money. Sixth most bet prop, Caitlin Clark 3+ made threes at minus 225. That's got to be in some parlays. And Clark has 3 more props all in the top 10. So there's your answer about the handle that Caitlin Clark is carrying into these games.
Yeah, we were talking ratings the other day as often we, jab at them. I'm like, all you got to do is just put Caitlin Clark in the front row and have Taylor Swift up in the suites, and you're good to go. Like, just make that happen, and you're not going to have any issues.
Play in the NBA.
That's it. Julian, you're the best. Thank you very much for all the information and setting us up. Of course, NBA Finals Game 6 tonight, going down in Indiana. Will we see a Game 7? We shall see. DraftKings showing OKC -6 right here, right now. Julian, good luck on all those plays. We're inching closer. I don't know if you've gotten your Phil Steele magazine just yet, but I know they're out there on the timeline. We're inching closer to college ball. I look forward to talking some football with you. But as always, thanks for a couple minutes today, man.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me. Looking forward to next time.
Awesome. There he is. Once again, Julian Edlow on the Gambler Hotline/stream. Fantastic job across the board. Be sure to follow him on everything there. Is Caitlin a top 3 player in the W?
Yes.
What?
She's an MVP candidate.
Cousin Nikki. Cousin Nikki.
Was that a question?
Yeah, well, he said she's not better than Wilson. Asia Wilson.
Yeah, well, she was the MVP last year.
Correct. Asia's no joke. All right, that's one. The other girl that's see, I can't even get into it because I haven't been paying attention.
You're gonna flex your knowledge. It was like you
She's
said you never watched.
incredible. She's worth.
Let's look at the MVP market right now.
She's worth all of the attention. I get it, and then some. But it's crazy to me, like, the people, again, it's the same stuff that we dealt with last year. First of all, it's the time of year. So everyone knows that just bringing her name up and getting into those incendiary conversations are only going to fetch eyeballs and ears, right? So it doesn't feel like people are genuine with the conversation. That's one. That's why I just want no part of it.
Well, when you talk about superstars, which we do constantly in the NBA,
yep,
Caitlin Clark is a bona fide superstar.
No
in
doubt.
Sports.
No doubt.
Forget the NBA. She transcends her sport.
No doubt.
And really transcends an Asia Wilson plus 7,500.
All right. And then Breanna Stewart.
She's also plus 7,500.
Stewie. Yeah, Stewie. There you go. Which they got into a fight. All I know is this.
Who got in a fight?
They were broing those two teams.
But that was Breanna Stewart's team?
Correct.
Oh, but she wasn't in the fight.
All I know is this. People were like, oh, you can't have. No, you can have it. That's a good thing. That's a
Great
good thing.
thing.
And you often you think about what the NBA was in the 90s/80s, and not to say that Jordan elevated the league. We know, hands down. But there was Bird and Magic before that. Like, there were great players that helped it.
Yeah.
But the Pistons with the bad boys, of course, you had to earn your keep there, right? They were bruisers. The league's going through that right now. And I think that it's only going to be beneficial in the long run. Again, I don't want anyone getting hurt, but like I said, the big picture to me, sorry to be all over the place, is the same conversations we're having right now are the same things we had last year. Like, where people don't know how to react to this stuff. Like, dude, because they're girls, you got to be nice to them. No, dude, they're out there competing, running their yaps at each other, and tempers are going to fly. Who cares?
And everyone's saying that the WNBA officiating is so bad because they don't throw those people out when they initiate these fights. And sure, theoretically, there should be discipline for those people. But on the flip side, when you don't throw those people out, you have moments like happened at the end of that Fever Sun game where there was a really hard foul that Sophie Cunningham took on the girl that actually hard
Really
fouled
hard?
Caitlin Clark. I mean, it would have been really hard in the NBA. It was a transition shot with 46 seconds left and transition layup, and she it was a really hard foul.
She went in.
In the NBA, that would even be a hard foul. That would be a hard foul.
I'd give him a flagrant, but they're not throwing blows at each other.
The point is that everyone's like, oh, the WNBA doesn't know how to handle this stuff, and those guys should be thrown out earlier to avoid situations later. Those situations later create viral moments.
Yeah.
Viral moments actually help your league and help broadcast your league on a larger scale. So yeah, you don't want violence and fights.
No.
But it also helps a little bit.
I agree with that. And if I'm sure you get the little truth serum over there, get a beer in front of the commissioner of the WNBA, they would absolutely admit to that. So like I said, I texted the group chat. I'm like, yo, got my attention. Had a little fight going on.
We're gonna watch UFC this week.
I like it. All right, let's keep it moving. Other side, big 4:00 hour. Once again, got Sam Oshtry from the Score. Great stuff from Roy and cousin Nikki checking in there. Did you catch the College World Series last night?
I didn't even know it was being played.
Oh my goodness, dude! We had a left fielder puking all over himself, and then more. You play all season for a shot at a title, and of course, this happens. One of the best teams in the College World Series made a complete boneheaded mistake that cost them everything. We're going to talk about the heartbreak and more on the other side. It's the Daily Ticket. Sam Oshtry from the Score. More after this.
Business and not thinking about radio? Think again. Because more people are listening to the radio on iHeart today than they were 20 years ago. And only iHeart Broadcast Radio connects with more Americans than TV, digital, social, any other media. Even twice as many teens than TikTok. And that reach means everything. Just think about the universal marketing formula. The number of consumers who hear your message times the response rate equals the results. Now let's get those results growing for your business. Radio's here now more than ever, and iHeart's leading the way. Think radio can help your business? Think iHeart. Streaming, podcasting, and radio, where the reach is real. Let us show you at iHeartAdvertising.com. That's iHeartAdvertising.com. Or call 844-844-iHeart. One more time, just call 844-844-iHeart and get radio working for you.
CEOs you should know, brought to you by Comcast Business. Jennifer Lawson, President and CEO of Keep America Beautiful.
We believe that everyone deserves to live in a clean, healthy, and beautiful community. And for us, that means engaging people in opportunities to help clean up their community, to make decisions about how and where work needs to be done in their community, to improve recycling rates, to improve education around the importance of not littering. And then the whole green side of the equation, which for us is about tree planting and flowers and the power of beauty to improve health, drive action, and really help people get inspired and to love where they live.
And how do you do that?
Through a network of 750 affiliates across the country. We help communities manage litter in their towns. We organize volunteers for litter cleanups. We host recycling events. We provide recycling education, litter education, and then we help plant trees and flowers in parks and oftentimes in private streets and areas responding to disasters. You can learn more about Keep America Beautiful at www.kab.org, and you can find all our social channels there. We're across all the normal platforms, and we welcome your engagement.
Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
After I came home from Iraq, I could still hear the booms. Makes it hard to be a good mom.
As America's veterans face challenges, DAV is there.
I'm Naomi Mathis, Air Force veteran.
DAV helps veterans get the benefits they've earned.
Thanks to DAV, I was able to begin to heal.
With the right support, more veterans can reach victories great and small.
My victory is being able to be here for my children.
Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
Tired of feeling alone in your job search? With just one connection, you can find endless job opportunities. That connection is Express Employment Professionals. Don't go it alone. Visit expresspros.com to find the location nearest you. That's expresspros.com.
Hey, this is Lincoln Kennedy. Here's what's trending on the iHeart Sports Network.
Presented by Mercedes-Benz.
A series win is in reach for the Phillies tonight in Miami. Christopher Sanchez takes the ball for Philadelphia, who's second now in the NL East. ESPN reports the Sixers may still draft Rutgers guard Ace Bailey with a third overall pick next week, despite his cancellation of a private workout. And the Lakers are now under new ownership, with Dodgers owner Mark Walter buying a majority stake in the team at a $10 billion valuation. I'm Scott Davidson.
The Mercedes-Benz Dream Days are back with offers on vehicles like the 2025 E-Class, CLE Coupe, C-Class, and EQE Sedan. Hurry in now through July 31st. Visit your local authorized dealer or learn more at mbusa.com/dream.
Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.
Good afternoon. Thursday drive home. We're seeing a ton of traffic headed to the shore at Channel the Walt, whipping into New Jersey down to 42 South the Creek Road, and then on and off slowing from that point down to Blackwood Clementon Road. A watch for slowing on the Atlantic City Expressway eastbound between Mays Landing and the airport, and Garden State Parkway southbound, on and off slowing between Ocean City and Summers Point, again approaching the Cape May tolls. Watch for delays on 95 northbound Allegheny up to Bridge, southbound Jack Cotman to the Betsy Ross. Lara Tutela, total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Macy's Backstage. Macy's Backstage is a whole new floor inside your Macy's store. And right now, you'll find the latest summer styles all for under $25. With new arrivals every day, you never know what amazing deals you'll find. So don't wait. Find a location at macy'sbackstage.com.
I have heart failure, and being out of breath all the time was just too much. I also have other symptoms like carpal tunnel syndrome and lower back pain, and I thought something's really off. That's why I talked to my cardiologist about ATTR-CM, or transthyretin cardiac amyloidosis.
ATTR-CM is a serious heart condition often accompanied by other non-heart-related symptoms. It's a condition that gets worse over time, so starting treatment early is important. Talk to your cardiologist today to see if you have ATTR-CM. Vindamax, tafamidis, is a prescription pill taken once a day to treat adults with ATTR-CM to reduce death and hospitalization for heart problems. Tell your doctor about all your medications, medical conditions, and if you have liver problems or breastfeeding, pregnant, or plan to be. There are no known side effects with Vindamax. For prescribing information, call 1-877-278-9632. Learn more at Vindamax.com.
Ask your doctor about ATTR-CM.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
As down payments get bigger, millions of renters across America feel like they'll never be able to buy a home. So instead of lowering expectations, Rocket Mortgage is lowering down payments to 1% for eligible home buyers with One Plus, helping more renters become owners. Call 800-4ROCKET or visit rocket.com to get a head start on your starter home.
Rocket Mortgage, LLC, licensed in all 50 states, NMLSconsumeraccess.org, number 3030.
Shop 4th of July savings at the Home Depot right now and get up to 40% off, plus up to an extra $600 off select appliances with free delivery, like Samsung. From all-in-one washer dryers to smart refrigerators, upgrade to tech you can trust with Samsung appliances. The Home Depot has what you need to simplify your routine. Don't miss 4th of July appliance savings at the Home Depot. Free delivery on appliance purchases of $396 or more. Offer valid June 18th through July 9th. U.S. only. See store or online for details.
Number one on your car radio preset and the new and improved iHeartRadio app. WDAS and WD273D Philadelphia is Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler.
Hey, there you go. Sometimes the board gets a little funky. Sorry about that. Daily Ticket with you here. Shabri Sam Oshtry from The Score. Universe Galaxy checking in right here. You like this one? As I still have Julian's banner running. Sorry about that. Hey, can I join your panel? If so, I'd like to bring up the topic of Michael Jordan fans being the worst fans of all time. I'll make the show good, and I've tested this topic on my page many times.
Michael Jordan fans being the worst fans of all time. I guarantee he was born after Jordan played. Yeah. And I was too. But I'm still a Jordan defender.
MJ is going to be involved with the media next year. Universal Galaxy, you're talking about me, man. That's number one. And I don't think that I am one of the worst fans. I know that it's a polarizing topic for a lot of people out there, and that's fine. But, again, people like to just say dumb things. We're talking about one of the best players of all time, but even Jordan is not comfortable saying that he's the greatest player of all time. There's plenty of great players have come before him, different genres, different spots, state of the game, so on and so forth. So I'll stay with MJ's take on that. Regardless of what LeBron is trying to do, that's fine. He's caught up in it. But for my money, it's just so hard to sit here and say that MJ is the greatest or LeBron's the greatest, especially with what LeBron has been doing, playing up at this level at age 40 plus. It's just insane. These guys are on a different planet when it comes to just sports in general, regardless of the greatest of all time. But, people will tell you Bill Russell, people will tell you Wilt, Dr. J, it's like Bird, Magic. You can go down the list. We know who the greats are. There's no use this guy was better than that guy. They didn't play against each other. How are you going to know? And I'm a Jordan guy. I love MJ, but LeBron is just insane. How could you sit there and tell me LeBron it cannot be in the conversation for greatest of all time?
Of course he is.
Yeah.
And it's hard to compare eras, which is why the conversation has just become so stupid and watered down.
Yeah.
And that's where I agree with LeBron and his point about players' legacy shouldn't be judged by rings to an extent, just because in the new era of the NBA, it's so hard to sustain success. You're going to see great players not accumulate 4, 5, 6 rings like the MJs, Kobe's, and LeBrons did in the 90s, 2000s, and 2010s. It's with the second apron and how collective bargaining is going in the NBA.
Yeah.
It is so hard to sustain success, which is why you haven't seen a repeat champion since the 2018 Warriors. So, yeah, Giannis might finish. And all this really started, I think, because Stephen A. called Giannis an underachiever if he only ends up with 1 ring. Giannis might end up with 1 ring. Jokic also might end up with 1 ring. That doesn't take away from their legacy anymore, because there's not the days of building super teams, and sustaining dynasties is completely over. It's harder to sustain success than ever before. So it's harder to win rings. It's harder for superstars to win rings because they don't have as much help. So yeah, I don't think it's fair in this new era of the NBA to actually judge guys when people's like Jokic and Giannis and those guys and Luka's career are done. It's not going to be fair to judge them based on their rings. I think it is fair for guys pre-2020, you could say, kind of, and pre-Warriors dynasty like LeBron, Kobe, KD, of course, Jordan in the 90s, who prevented everyone else, every other superstar pretty much when he was on the court, from getting a ring. But it's not fair to judge the new crop of talent based on rings.
Yeah, I agree with everything you just said. We're having some technical difficulties with the stream. What are you going to do? He's like, yeah, typical MJ fans. Like, stop it, dude. Nobody cares about that conversation. That conversation is way too old and too stale to get into. All right, let's keep it moving, though, into other things that do matter. And College World Series has been really entertaining. I know that you made the joke really? Yeah, you didn't watch it, but it's been really good. A lot of good games out there. And, of course, you get the fanfare. I'm not going to put it on the level of March Madness by no means. Yeah, something is up completely with our internet in here. I'm not getting anything. I'm just trying to pull up the odds because now we have our College World Series set between LSU and, of course, the Chanticleers, not the Chanticleers, the Chanticleers of Coastal Carolina. But last night
I can give it to you if it's not working for you.
What do you
LSU is minus 190 to walk away with the championship, and Coastal Carolina is plus 155.
That's crazy.
And on the run line for game 1, LSU is minus 1.5.
Look, we're talking about 2 different programs, right?
Coastal Carolina that's got to be rare for them to make an appearance here.
They won it a couple years ago.
Really?
Yeah, they won it a couple years ago. They haven't lost in a month and a half.
Seriously, I guess it's probably easy to recruit down there. It's a cool place to go. Apparently, they have a very fun bar scene. It's probably easy to recruit baseball players out there.
Yeah, no, I would just say that from the college base, I love the regionals. I love the super regionals. The World Series it's tough spot, but the games are entertaining. So I tuned in last night. I'm watching this game, and this team, the winner of this will go to the championship. And it's between LSU and Arkansas. And Arkansas takes the lead in the top of the 9th to go up by 2. 5-3, if I'm not mistaken, the score was, right? So LSU comes up, and LSU gets a couple runners on base, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, it's runners on first and second, and I think there was 1 out, I believe. Shortstop gets a pretty hard hit ball from Arkansas right to him, and he throws it the third for the automatic out. 2 outs, but he had a double play. It was a double play ball. It was just smashed right to him. He would have turned 2 if they did it and didn't make a throwing error. Bottom line is they were up by 2. It doesn't matter. You got to try for 2 there. It was just tailor-made. So that was a brain fart number 1. And it was accumulation of everything that ended up costing him. But, man, it was such a puke fest. And it was really hard to watch because it was just like, dude, like and again, I'm going on a much different level and not on television and not playing in a College World Series. But, man, when I played ball, like, I wanted the ball hit it to me. I'm in the outfield. I could track those balls down, man. I loved it. And clearly in that moment, the left fielder wanted no part of it. And it was a hard hit ball, 2 outs. I think runners were on second and third and or first and second it was. Yeah. And the ball smashed right at him. He steps back, then dives, and the ball hits him at his right shoulder, bounces to the wall, tie game, 5-5. LSU ties it up. And then they come up and I believe the next at bat and hit a little bit of a pop fly to center field that falls in, and they end up losing the game. Kid was crying, and he's a hell of a bat too. He's a hell of a player because Luke was telling us on his chat how good he was, and he had a great run this year, sophomore, I believe. I could only imagine what his DMs look like. I can only imagine that he's probably thinking to himself he's got to transfer. Yeah, that sucks. But, dude, it's the College World Series on the line, and you can't catch a fly ball that's right at you.
Does the "they're just kids" apply anymore because of NIL? And these guys are getting paid, not to the extent that basketball and football players are. But, yeah, I don't know if you can just say they're just kids if they're getting paid.
That's very true. And another great segue by Sam Oshtry. How about this headline? Mizzou spent $31.7 million on NIL for athletes in the last year. We finally got some records out there. The University of Missouri Athletics Department has spent more than $31 million on name, image, and likeness compensation for its athletes during the past year, according to financial records. They went in, and the records show that nearly 2/3 of the money in 2024 went to football players and about 1/4 to men's basketball. The remainder was split between baseball, women's basketball, and lower profile programs. $31 million. And it went into like the month of when these, like what the number was given. And we understand how it works. As far as like, you know, to a point, like I would imagine contracts are different for these kids, whatever it is, but 31.7, does that number shock you? Do you think that's low? Do you think it's high? I've been waiting to we see.
Yeah.
And we know because there's rumors that Ace Bailey was making $13 million last year playing at Rutgers, but no one can really lock that in on paper. We haven't seen those numbers. So this is the first time that we actually had a look at real deal numbers, factual evidence here. 31.7 last year, Missouri. What do you say to that?
Players like guys like Ace Bailey, what they make different than what the school can actually give them, because school can give you $2 million. But if you have a good NIL agent, he'll also get you marketing deals, and that you'll get a lot more money from marketing NIL deals. But that's not necessarily what the school collective gives you. That those numbers presumably are just based off what the Missouri's collective was actually specifically paying the athletes. So from that perspective, I look at it and say, yeah, that's probably around average, normal for an SEC team. When you think about how much you have to pay football guys, which is over $10 million, and how much you have to pay basketball guys, not like Missouri is spending a ton on basketball NIL, but then even the non-revenue sports like baseball and the women's basketball and volleyball is a big NIL sport now, and softball and sports like that. All that stuff contributes to it. So I think 31.7 is around what I would expect. Not too high and not too low necessarily. But it's interesting how they actually got that number if it was the collective. If it's not the school giving them the money directly, it's the collectives.
Yes.
Which they're associated with the school, but they're not directly involved with the school. So it's kind of interesting how that works and how they actually get those figures.
Yeah, the collectives, every true Tiger.
That's what their collective's called.
Yeah, exactly.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Very interesting day and age we are in right now in college athletics, and we were talking about the NBA. I don't have a positive, rosy feeling about college sports in the future,
and I've been telling you that. And I'll always watch. Like I love college football. I'll get excited for college football.
We are going to have a drastic change over the next few years.
It's just it's
going to blow up. I think.
There just needs to be some regulations. Like I want continuity in the sport, and that's the biggest thing to me. It's not the NIL; it's continuity in the sport. If you sign an NIL contract, it should be for 2 years.
But then there's even if they come up with said NIL contract. There's always going to be pushback. I know the women are putting out there with Title IX, with the latest conversation, the latest stuff that was put out there from the government, if I'm not mistaken. It's not an easy situation to solve, and I just don't see that happening the right way. Let's put it that way over the next few years. And I just think this is going to blow up bad in our face, but we'll see what happens. Of course, college football isn't going anywhere. We're going to tune in and we'll see, in college hoops as well. All right, Daily Ticket rolling on. Sam Oshtry will be back. He's got to hop off for just a second, but hopefully we get him on before we get out of here at 5 o'clock. Other side, I got a lot to get to, though. I promise you this. We're going to mix in some NBA Finals conversation. We did have an interesting retirement in the NFL. I want to complain about kids on motorized bikes. I saw an 8-year-old, but 2 8-year-olds to 10-year-olds on motorized bikes driving around my neighborhood. Come on, parents. You buying your kids out there motorized bikes? Come on. It's got pedals. Push it. We used to ride bikes all day long and nighttime. I'm talking about miles with our legs. These kids were cruising right down the street. Motorized bike. What type of parent are you buying that for your kid? Got some other stuff that we can get into as far as odds and ends. And we'll be checking off a really cool bucket list item when it comes to the sports world at the end of July. Can't wait. And I'll tell you what exactly that is on the other side. It's more Daily Ticket after this.
Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.
And you can be there
for a weekend full of superstar performances, never before seen collaborations, and once in a lifetime artist moments you'll have to see to believe. Tickets are on sale now at AXS.com. Get your tickets today at AXS.com. And we'll see you at our 2025 iHeartRadio Music Festival.
Presented by Capital One.
Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.
Heads up, traffic barely moving on the 30 bypass westbound approaching Airport Road. That's where everyone's been forced to exit due to a crash involving a tractor trailer. On a Schuylkill eastbound heavy Blue Route to Belmont and Jam Boulevard to the Vine Expressway. A westbound So City to Belmont and the Vine Expressway busy eastbound Schuylkill to Broad. 95 northbound Jan Allegheny to Bridge. Southbound Stop and Go Cotman to the Betsy Ross. Walt Whitman Jan did to New Jersey down to 42 south of Blackwood Clementon Road. All right, to tell a total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Macy's Backstage. Macy's Backstage is a whole new floor inside your Macy's store. And right now, you'll find the latest summer styles all for under $25. With new arrivals every day, you never know what amazing deals you'll find. So don't wait. Find a location at Macy'sBackstage.com.
You own or manage a business here in Philadelphia. Are you unsure where to start when it comes to advertising? Well, here's a surprise. Fox Sports The Gambler, your local iHeart station, is the one place you can get it all. Hey, it's Sean Brace, and we can help with everything from radio and podcast ads to social media and digital. And we can even get local voices like mine spreading the word about your business. So if you're looking for someone to take care of it all, do yourself a favor right now. Call 844-844-iHeart or visit iHeartAdvertising.com today.
With great deals coming this Prime Day, July 8th through the 11th, greatness is a deal away. So if you love baking, you can get a deal on a new mixer, transforming you into the Lord of the Loaves.
Hear ye, make way for the baron of brioche, the sultan of sourdough, the lord of the loaves, Prime Member Dave!
Yeah, hi?
Shop great deals this Prime Day, July 8th through the 11th.
Today doesn't have to suck. Break through your day-to-day boredom by downloading Call of Duty Mobile for free and enjoy fun gameplay featuring fan-favorite Call of Duty maps, modes, and operators, plus tons of new mobile content anywhere, anytime. Available on both the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. Download for free now. Rated M.
Looking for the perfect outdoor dining experience with a view? Join us at Randall's Restaurant, located in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Don't miss out on our summer promotions, including the return of Burgers and Brews Night every Tuesday, with delicious chef-crafted burgers paired with a refreshing selection of brews. Our July 4th weekend drink specials to celebrate the holiday, and Wine Fest coming in late August with over 100 different tasting selections and live jazz music. More details at randallslegacy.com. That's randallslegacy.com.
I have heart failure, and being out of breath all the time was just too much.
My lower back pain was interrupting family time. My carpal tunnel syndrome was taking me away from work.
That's why I talk to my cardiologist about my symptoms.
That's why I talked to my cardiologist.
That's why I talked to my cardiologist and discovered I had ATTR-CM, or transthyretin cardiac amyloidosis.
If you have heart failure and new or worsening symptoms, it could be ATTR-CM. ATTR-CM is a serious heart condition often accompanied by other non-heart-related symptoms. Talk to your cardiologist today and see what's possible. Vindamax, tafamidis, is a prescription pill taken once a day to treat adults with ATTR-CM to reduce death and hospitalization for heart problems. Tell your doctor about all your medications, medical conditions, and if you have liver problems or breastfeeding, pregnant, or plan to be. There are no known side effects with Vindamax. For prescribing information, call 1-877-278-9632. Learn more at Vindamax.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Hey, man, you all right? Need me to call 911? No, call Top Dog Law.
Get top dollar for your accident at topdoglaw.com. Once again, that's topdoglaw.com.
You know what this is? Here's Sean Brace on the Daily Ticket. Daily Ticket on Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler.
Let's go.
Oh, I love it. Everybody's got the answers. Daily Ticket with you here. Sean Brace riding solo. NBA Finals Game 6 tonight. OKC -6 on the road in Indiana. Had Julian Edlow a little earlier today. Said, you know what? Could potentially see OKC winning this game, yet not covering the number. Had some really good details, numbers, back it up with his take. Interesting, because I just don't know if with the Pacers without Halliburton out there will have enough firepower, because we just know OKC's the better team. I get it. Game isn't played on paper. You're talking about the emotions. Game 6 in their building, tough spot. You know, Game 7's on the line here, right? Like, you don't want to, and anything could happen in Game 7, and you don't want to get there. I'm having a hard time saying that Pacers are going to cover the number. I think I would just be happy taking OKC, and if it goes to a Game 7, then we're all rewarded. Here's the deal. If it goes to a Game 7, there is no way in hell the Pacers are winning that game. Of course, we know that. What would be the spread? 10, 11? You got an 11-point game in a Game 7? Yeah, you're laying that number. Yeah, you'd have to, because there's no way the Pacers are winning that game. So I'm just going to back OKC here. Small, nothing too crazy. I do like the McConnell angle. I do like the under on Halliburton as far as his numbers are concerned. Again, 14.5 on DraftKings Sportsbook props that are listed for Tyrese Halliburton, who potentially could miss the game. It's been really weird. He's going to give it a go, but he could be a little limited. Here he was asked yesterday about his approach to the injury.
How smart do you have to be, I guess, in this situation? Or are you not even thinking in those terms at this point?
Well, I think it depends on who you ask. I mean, you're asking me, so I think I have to be as smart as I want to be. I have to understand the risks, ask the right questions. But I'm a competitor. I want to play. I'm going to do everything in my power to play, and that's just what it is.
Yeah, I'll back OKC tonight, closing up. Everybody, a lot of people did say OKC in 5. I had OKC in 5. OKC in 6 seems to be a pretty good consensus for a lot of people out there. I never thought it was a sweep. Thought Indiana would get 1, but potentially here they are with an opportunity to get 2 and force a Game 7. I'm not sure if that's going to be the case, but I think we would all prefer to see a Game 7 at the end. But again, it's a tough spot here, and I just do believe that the better team is Oklahoma City. So why not, as far as that is concerned? Sam Oshtry back with us.
I'm back.
Great to have you.
Talking
Sam.
some NBA Finals.
Yeah, hit on that a little bit. I did want to get in real quick if we could, though. A dominant performance by Ranger Suarez last night, and the Phillies finding a way to win a game again against the Marlins 4-2. But Ranger Suarez has just been unbelievable, and it's been a lot of fun to be a part and to believe in him, number one, and then to be able to go to watch him go out there. Last 8 starts, he's only given up 7 earned runs, 12 walks. He's 3rd in Major League Baseball in ERA. And it's funny because Bob Winkle, who does a great job covering all things Phillies, he's just like, should have made him a setup, man. Like, you know, they got an embarrassment of riches. I mean, somebody's got to go to the pen. Like if Aaron Nola comes back, and he's now going to be extended. But if he did come back, he was paid a ton of money. Somebody has to go to the pen. And I didn't think Ranger Suarez going to the pen would have been now setup, man. I don't know. I wasn't part of those conversations, but he is too damn good. He clearly is too damn good for that role. He is a bona fide badass in this pitching rotation. And just another ho-hum 7 innings last night. Had the 6 total strikeouts, cashed in on that. Unfortunately, Judge did not go yard. Come on. Colby Marcio set me up for failure on that one. I kid, Colby. I kid. A lot of juice from him. A lot of fun yesterday. Judge and the Yankees. They did win today, but they lost that game yesterday. So anyways, Phillies back in action once again. We're having all sorts of issues with our internet connection here today. DraftKings Sportsbook has the Titans. Game 4 against the Marlins here. Christopher Sanchez on the mound, minus 148. Marlins are plus 121. Total coming in at 7.5. Sanchez has been dominant. I'll ride with him again on this one. As far as the pitching props are concerned, strikeouts, he's at 6+ as well. I could see the Marlins continuing on that streak. So give me the over 5.5. As far as Christopher Sanchez strikeouts, you have to like the Phillies to win again. And oh, by the way, tomorrow, yes, tomorrow, give me some baseball music, Brace. Let's go. I like when I talk to myself in the third person. We're going to be live from Xfinity Live at 3 p.m. Myself, Powers, Luke Arcane, the Gambler Gang, anybody, roll through. We'll be at 1100 Social, right out there on the corner of Xfinity Live with the beautiful Citizens Bank Park in our backdrop. It's going to be incredible as the Mets and Phillies get it going for a best-of-3 this weekend series. Best-of-3, yeah. 3-game series, whatever. And we're going to be live tomorrow from Xfinity Live starting at 3 p.m. So if you're in the area, stop on by. Of course, come through Xfinity Live. Doesn't cost you anything. And, we'll have some fun, create some content. I think Natalie's going to be rolling through, hopefully. Come one, come all. Sam Oshtry will be back at the studio. He's pushing all the right buttons.
Yes, sir. And that series for first place, potentially.
Yeah,
if
man.
the Phillies win tonight and the Mets lose, they're tied for first place at NL East. So this is a massive series that we have at Citizens Bank Park this weekend.
Great series, man. It's always fun when you get the Mets fans down here. Hopefully not as big as last time. The last time I went to a Mets-Phillies game, I was blown away by how many Mets fans were in the building.
Was that for the playoffs?
No.
It was,
actually, I did go to a Mets-Phillies game in the playoffs last year, and they ended up winning that game. But it was a regular season game, and I went with Powers. Powers is a Mets fan. It's all good. It's all good. It's not good when he hits the text messenger. Like, nobody cares about the Mets. Like, everyone's like, shut
unless
up,
they're
Powers.
playing the Phillies, nobody cares.
Like, he's texting us about Pete Alonso. Like, shut up, Powers. Nobody cares about the Mets. I kid. But I went to a game last year and could not believe my eyes at how many Mets fans were there.
Well, I felt that against the Yankees last year. Like, I remember I going to a Yankees-Phillies regular season game at Citizens Bank Park, and there was just Yankees took that place over. Took it over. And I'd never seen anything like that. I've been to Mets games where there's a lot of Mets fans that'll come down, but I've never seen Citizens Bank Park be taken over like it was against the Yankees last year. And it was a really ugly game. It was one of those where the Yankees won by like double-digit runs. But you could, from the first inning, it was just like, this feels like a Yankees home game more than a Phillies home game.
I've never, like, have New York fans gotten more radical, more juvenated over the last few, and radical, I mean, in a, not a negative way. I mean,
well,
like,
you could use it in a negative way.
Yeah.
For sure.
Oh, absolutely. We can go down that path all day. Radical Republican. So what I would say is, like, what took place with the Knicks fans, right?
Yeah.
And of course, you got winning teams. Everything is a hell of a lot better. But they come in, and then you just brought up the Yankees. I just talked about the Mets. They've always had great fans and fans that would travel. And of course, we know that how expensive those prices are for those tickets in their home fields. Come down 95, quick trip, a little bit cheaper in Philly. Plus, a lot of people probably live around here, so on and so forth. But, like, it feels like the New York sports fan is taking a step up.
I think they've had some success. And when you taste a little bit of success, a lot of people don't know how to handle success. When you look at the Knicks the last 5 years, the Mets have had a great run last year. And then with Steve Cohen, when he bought the team, they were rejuvenated. Of course, the Yankees make the World Series last year for the first time since 2009. So they've had a lot of success, and the Rangers have had some good years, I think. Not that I really follow hockey, but I think they have. So they've had some success. And once you taste success, not a lot of people know how to handle it. And I don't know if New York fans know how to handle success, but I do feel like they've leveled up. I also think Knicks fans are a different breed of New York fans or any American sports fan base. New York fans are just absolute lunatics, psychos. So when they're relevant, when the Knicks are relevant, Knicks fans are going to be center stage. So you think just, oh, this is the New York fan base. Knicks fans are just different.
Knicks fans are they're maniacs.
Nuts.
Yeah.
Nuts.
I kind of respect it, and
I started to respect it.
Here's what I would say. Oh yeah, we know that.
Well,
you're diehard.
I'm not one of them, but
I do want to say this: that if the Philadelphia 76ers did build that arena downtown, I feel like that we could have got that type of reaction following games, regular season games, just partying in the street. You know how we do it. It would have been the same way. And the fact that we're not, and we're out in, the stadium complex, it's just a different vibe. But you put that in the city, it would have carried out in the streets.
Maybe, but I think that's really unique to Knicks fans, because most other fan bases, when they do that, everyone just gets killed for doing that, because it's like, why are you act like you've been there before?
Yeah, that's
even
true
if
too.
you haven't, act like you've been there before. Yeah. And Philly fans have, especially with the Eagles, we've been able to taste a lot of success over the last decade. So we have been there before, so you can't pretend like you haven't. And I think for Knicks fans, it's so unique with them, where they even when they have been there before, they act like they haven't been there before. Mm-hmm. But that would be distasteful if every fan base did that. It's just, they're so crazy that they can do that.
It's interesting. Yeah, look, I'm excited for this weekend series. As you pointed out, with first place on the line here, it's June. It gives us something to focus on, although we're always watching the Phillies. And, bring on the Mets. Let's go here. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, we got Sam Oshtry coming down the home stretch here. Once again, a lot of all over the place, again, with the NBA finals going on, and not a lot of everything else, or not a lot of anything else happening. I will say this much, though. The Eagles did have a little bit of a training camp / meeting for the first time today, and there's really good stuff on the timeline, courtesy of the Eagles, including Nick Sirianni with a strong message to the team. The celebration is over. Preparation is here, Sam Oshtry. He said, treat praise like perfume. Sniff it. Don't drink it. It's poison. You know who he's trying to sound like, right?
I don't.
Nick Saban.
Okay.
The rat poison, which is a good thing.
Well, Sirianni said he spent a lot of the offseason spending time with coaches and teams who have had success. And that's what his offseason was about, learning how to deal with success and how to respond and potentially repeat. So Nick Saban is probably a guy he reached out to.
Yeah, he's not a bad guy to reach out to learn from.
And that's what I love about Nick Sirianni. And what I've always loved about him is he's constantly trying to get better. He's like a sponge, and he's constantly consuming any information, anything to give him or his team an edge. He wants it all, and he's always reaching out to resources, not just in football, but in all sports. He reached out to Jay Wright to learn about coaching in this city, even though it's obviously way different, but still coaching in this city and sustaining success and all that stuff. So I respect Nick Sirianni for doing that, and the Eagles should benefit because of it.
One quick one as far as the NFL is concerned, and I asked I asked Kyle Fisher yesterday this question to you. So I'm curious where you go with this angle. And a couple years ago, I was screaming, from the mountaintops that I would need a new blood at the quarterback position. I want a new blood. And then all of a sudden, a guy by the name of Patrick Mahomes jumped on the scene. Joe Burrow came. We had all these, and of course, Lamar Jackson. Like, we had all these great quarterbacks just come, and it was the perfect time. This was dating back, even. This is like Joe Flacco with the Ravens. This is Ben Roethlisberger, Phillip Rivers, like those days. And my wish was granted. We got some great new blood at the quarterback position. And I'm now having the same-ish vibes that I once was about the quarterback position, specifically coming out of the AFC. I'm getting a little tired, and I'm not like, I'm not going to watch it. No. NFL controls all, tap my vein, inject it, let's go. I want new blood in the AFC, Sam. I can't take, it comes off of yesterday with the Ravens and they signed Jair Alexander. And then, of course, Lamar was talking about the Buffalo Bills. He's out for vengeance. And I'm just like, you guys are going to continue to do this. Congratulations. You're going to lose to the Chiefs again.
Yeah. Well,
is it as simple as that in your mind? Is there a new team? Is there something new coming out of the AFC for you that you think of?
I think it's always easy to say, oh, the Chiefs will just do it again. And when you have a differentiating opinion, it's usually wrong because if you bet against Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and that combo, you're usually proven wrong. We as Eagles fans know firsthand it is so difficult to come off of losing a Super Bowl. Way more difficult than losing a championship game, way more difficult than winning a Super Bowl. We experienced it firsthand when we had great success early in the season coming off that Super Bowl loss in 2022. Great success early on in 2023, completely collapsed, finished the season 1-6, first-round playoff exit in a wild card game to the Bucs. And you can look at countless examples. The Niners last year, after they lost the Super Bowl to the Chiefs, they had a disastrous year and plagued with injuries. It is really hard to lose a Super Bowl, and the Chiefs have some question marks. And it's not like this is an easy conference. The Chiefs have been able to make it look like it's an easy conference because they're always in the mix and they're always coming out on top. 3 straight Super Bowl appearances, as we know. The Bills are a really good team. The Ravens are a really good team. The Bengals are coming this season. There's a lot of teams that I feel like there's a window for this season. And I don't think we're going to be looking at a Chiefs and Super Bowl again, just because of what history tells us. It is so difficult to come off of losing a Super Bowl.
Interesting. All right. Well, I would definitely sign up for that. Give me some more of that if that's the case, because I just want something new out of the AFC. And I know Kyle is making the case for the Chargers. And I made him get a little bit more, juice behind his opinion. It's tough to sit here and say that the Chargers are going to take that jump up, of course, if they don't get better production from their quarterback in specific times like the playoffs, Justin Herbert. But you have to look at what Harbaugh is and how he is able to build a franchise, whether it's a program at Michigan or at Stanford, or, of course, what he did with the 49ers. So potentially could be the Chargers this year in LA, coming out of the AFC. I do like what you said about Cincinnati. Cincinnati has to make the playoffs this year, although
there will be massive changes.
Although they did not make the playoffs now 2 straight years.
And last year, and both those years, they started off really poorly. 2 years ago, Burrow gets hurt, so there's somewhat of an excuse for that. Last year, they just started off really poorly, and there was some contract issues with Jamar Chase and everyone going into the year. But they made a great run. Like, they looked really good that second half of the year. They were probably a top 10, maybe probably top 7 or 8 team in the league that second half of that season. It just wasn't enough, even though they went on a great run to ultimately qualify for the postseason. I think if you have one of the best quarterbacks in the league, you have the offensive talent that they have, you have to invest in the defense, which they did a little bit of more. I think this team is ready to make a jump into contender status and get back into the postseason. But to your point about the Chargers, it's all about the quarterback. And, Sean Bernard really has a monopoly on the Justin Herbert discourse, because as you talk about the Chargers,
you think of him
and Justin Herbert.
Think about him.
I just think about Sean Bernard. So credit to him for that. But
he's like Stephen A. with the Cowboys.
Yes.
Right?
But yes.
Like when the Cowboys lose, you're like, Stephen A. is going to be doing something stupid. Now, Justin Herbert. And I'm a Justin Herbert fan. Like, if you say you got to check a box here, you're a fan or you think the dude's a fraud, I'm a fan. I think he's a good quarterback.
Fan or fraud, I lean more fan, but I'm definitely very split in the middle because the postseason production, I think he's a really good quarterback and shows that in regular season. The postseason production is a serious concern. And I think he has the right coach in place now going into year 2.
Yes.
I think their roster actually improved quite a bit from last season. But Jim Harbaugh keeps saying, he's like, Justin Herbert's not the problem at all. It's us. Me and my coaching staff and our entire roster that's to elevate our game to meet Justin Herbert's standard. That's what Jim Harbaugh said earlier this week. So whether he really believes that or not is one thing. Justin Herbert's a really talented quarterback. The postseason production has to be there. But there's no doubt that I think it's in him. It's just Harbaugh has to get it out of him.
He threw for over 5,000 yards his second season.
Yeah, that was probably his best year in the league.
65%. Look, his numbers are great. He threw for 68% the following year, 4,700. So you can make the case that was his best year. 25 touchdowns and 10, 38 and 15.
Last year he had 3 picks the entire season.
Yes, 23 and 3, 65%,
that's
3,800
really,
yards.
really impressive to throw 3 picks the entire season. But you know what happens in the playoff game? 4 picks.
He folded.
4 picks.
He folded.
Exceeded his interception total from the regular season. 4 picks in the playoffs against the Texans, a game that they just got demolished. And a large part was because of his quarterback play, 12.8 QBR. The production has to be better in the postseason.
And it falls squarely on his shoulders.
That game did.
Yes,
That game did.
No doubt about it. There's no excuses being made. The only thing I would say is, like, can't you learn from that? Can't you improve from that? Isn't that
I think
something
so.
that
If you have the
drives
right
you?
mentality,
Yes.
and I think he does.
He does.
I think he's a very hard worker. I think he's a mentally strong guy. I think if you have the right mentality, it's definitely something that could and should drive you. But we're about to find out this year.
The West and the AFC, of course, is commanded by or controlled by all things Chiefs. They're minus 120 to win that division. Broncos 3-1, Chargers plus 310. Could be a good time to take a flyer on the Broncos or Chargers to win that division.
I think the Broncos are being slightly overvalued. Bo Nix is a good quarterback. I think he had a really nice season. I think they're being slightly overvalued because of the season he had and because of he kind of surpassed him and Sean Payton both surpassed all expectations for their first year in Denver. So I think the Broncos are being overvalued a bit, and I think the Chargers are the team to take.
I think I'm going to have to go head-to-head with Sean Bernard here. I think I'm going head-to-head with Bernard. I'm going to say put your money where your mouth is, Sean, because I think the Chargers are coming for that division, damn it.
I am with you. I'm with you.
Plus
And
310.
Minus 120, I believe you said the Chiefs were?
Yes.
That's not a crazy price for them to win the division. That's Vegas kind of telling you that they expect the Chiefs to maybe take a little bit of a back seat coming off that Super Bowl loss.
Oh, God. Well, yeah.
I mean, what are they? I don't know exactly what they've been the last few years.
Yeah.
I'd venture to say it was a longer number than minus 120. I mean, that speaks to the strength of the division.
Yep.
It also speaks to the weakening of that Chiefs roster.
Football season right around the corner.
It's here. It's June 19th. Happy holidays, and it's here.
Yes, it is. Happy holidays. Good call on that one. Federal holiday and great stuff there. All right.
Just leave it at that.
Well, yeah, like, hey, man, bottom line is nobody's here. I won't lie to you. I was like, is it okay if I come in and work? Because I don't want that to be read some wrong way. Like I wanted to work. I like Thursdays. You come in on a Thursday. I'm like, is that going to be frowned upon? I don't want to be in that world. No,
should never be frowned upon for working, even if it's Christmas, whatever the holiday.
Yeah. I mean, in this industry, you work. It just is. But I was able to slide out on Tuesday. That was my excuse to it. I'm like, I got to get in there on Thursday. All right. Once again, we're going to be live tomorrow. Xfinity Live. Let's go. 3 p.m. Sam, couple quick ones before we get out of here, sir. First of all, Udoka, he has joined the top tier as one of the higher paid coaches in the NBA. Good move by the Houston Rockets.
Great move by the Houston Rockets, one of the premier coaches in the NBA. On that note, I saw this point made somewhere, and it's a great point. Executives around the NBA have to be really pissed at the Knicks for what they did by trying to contact and trying to poach all these other coaches.
Yeah.
Because you know what it did to those coaches and those coaches' agents? They went to their team saying, oh, we have other guys who want you. Now we have leverage. You need to pay me more money. And I think you saw that with the Billy Donovan when he got a pay raise after the Knicks tried to poach him. You're seeing that now.
Did he
with the
really
Rockets.
deserve it too?
I don't think he deserved it, but if you're going to say you're going to keep me around here and you're saying you want me, well, then pay me more money or else let me go talk to the Knicks. And now executives are probably pissed at the Knicks for that and Leon Rose for that, because that gave those coaches and their agents an opportunity to take advantage of their front office and get paid a little more. So I think that's part of the Udoka extension, but he is certainly a well-deserved guy to receive something like that.
All right, Caitlin Clark tonight, how many points and how many three-pointers made?
Who's she playing?
The Valkyries?
Oh, the Golden State team.
Golden State team. That's what it is. Okay.
26 points, 4 threes.
4 threes. All right, I'm going to put that in the same game parlay on DK and see what I can get there. And finally, final score tonight. Where are we at? 6-point spread. Who goes off? Who's the leading scorer in the game, not named SGA?
Not named SGA. I think it's Jalen Williams. He's just been playing so well and has the ball in his hand, initiating offense more. I think Chet has a decent game. I also think you're going to have a huge Alex Caruso game. Like people are going to be looking at Alex Caruso after tonight and being like, wait, should you actually give our MVP vote to this guy? He's been that good and he's been that impactful for the team. I think Caruso has a great game. I think the Thunder's defense has a great game. I think the Thunder become NBA champions today for the first time in franchise history. And there is nobody around the NBA, player, coach, executive, owner, who deserves an NBA championship more than Sam Presti. So it's going to be cool to watch him lift that Larry O'Brien tonight.
All right. What do you got cooking over at the Score, sir? What are you working on?
It's a good question.
Great article as far as the MVP odds are concerned. We got to get that on the timeline. Great stuff.
A lot of NBA draft stuff coming. Tomorrow and next week up until Wednesday. So focusing on the NBA draft, assuming the series is over tonight, and some 2026 odds, then Kevin Durant and Giannis are stealing the headlines still. So expect that KD trade to go down pretty soon.
Damn it, I did have that written down as far as KD to get into. He's got 3 teams listed. I have no issue with him saying I want to go to X, Y, and Z, but it's not up to the Suns to do right by him. Like, forgive me. Like,
no. But they shouldn't do right by them at all, but they also have no leverage because they should want to move on from KD as much as he wants to move on from them. Like, the KD experiment was a disaster. So they have no leverage in this scenario. They can't ask for the moon.
So where's KD end up at?
It's tough. Look, the Heat, I like the Heat as a fit. They probably can offer the worst package.
Yep.
The Rockets, can offer the best package. The problem is if you're giving up assets for KD, that means you're forfeiting and punting on Giannis, and you're acknowledging that he's probably just going to stay in Milwaukee forever. So I think that's really tough from the Rockets' perspective. I'm going to say the Spurs. I think they'll have enough to give up without giving up their core of Stephon Castle, Wemby, De'Aaron Fox. And am I missing anyone? No, and their number 2 pick in the draft, whoever that is, probably Dylan Harper. But I think they'll still have enough to gift the Suns, who are going to have to lower their asking price. I think it'll be the Spurs.
All right. Great stuff. Once again, you can find Sam on all things socials at SOSHTRY. Sam Oshtry, full name, or full last name, first initial, of course. Read him at The Score. Just retweeted some stuff over on our socials on the station at FoxPHL Gambler. If you missed anything, check us out online at foxphlgambler.com. The programming rolls on. Coming up next, Football is King with Beef and McClay, followed by On the Clock with Sam Oshtry and Jack Forrest, a brand new edition coming your way. I'm sure there's a little bit probably that you said 2 nights ago about Ace Bailey that probably you would say differently now, knowing that this guy has canceled his workouts, his dinner reservations, and wants nothing to do with this organization. Very strange.
Yes, except I've been pretty consistent advocating for the Sixers to go away from Ace Bailey.
Nice.
So nothing's changing on that front for me. I've been saying VG Edgecombe is the guy for them at number 3, and they should continue to move in that direction. And look, Ace Bailey might drop to 5 because the Hornets are picking 4, and the Hornets don't have a need for Ace Bailey when you have Brandon Miller, LaMelo Ball, Miles Bridges, and a bunch of those guys. I'd rather take Con Knipple or someone like that. So Ace Bailey could slip all the way to 5 or 6, but the Sixers should just pass on him and get rid of the Ace Bailey experience from Philadelphia.
He's making a name for himself, not in a positive manner either. It's one of these guys where it's like, I'm already getting a bad vibe from him coming into the league, A, and then B, once he gets into the league, he's going to be like, I didn't say any of that. Everybody had something to say. This came out of nowhere, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, I want no parts of him for Philly. Real quick on your boy from Maryland dropping, though. What's going on there?
Defensive concerns, he's slow-footed. It's like, will you pay him at power forward or center? I still think whoever takes him is hitting a home run. I think he has a chance to be a top 3 player in this draft. So a lot of teams that are worried about the defense and the size, he's a slow-footed guy, or just missing out on the skill that you have in a big man. So Derek Queen is an awesome prospect to me. If the Wizards, who just had him in his backyard. He just played in Maryland. He's from Maryland.
Yeah.
So they had him in high school there before he went to IMG. If the Wizards really pass on this guy who would perfectly pair with Alex Sarr as a rim protecting, rim running center, I'd be really shocked, and it would be kind of weird how much intel they have, or maybe they didn't do their due diligence when they had him in his backyard, because Derek Queen should not slip past the Wizards at 6.
Julius Randle comp?
No, it's not fair. It's not fair at all.
Why?
Derek Queen is a phenomenal passer and a playmaker. Julius Randle's game is just bully ball downhill.
Yeah, okay.
I don't like that comp at all.
All right. Well, I was high on Julius Randle when he was coming out of college. That feels like an eternity ago.
Yeah, didn't that team miss the tournament for Kentucky?
I believe so.
Yeah.
But I liked
he was
him.
a great prospect.
Yeah, I liked him a lot. And then look at the career he's turned
2
into.
All NBAs is nothing to
no, man. No, he's been a hell of a player. I was right with that analysis. How about that?
Yeah, you were.
But then again, it matters where you end up. And he's been on how many teams already?
Lakers, Knicks, and now Wolves.
He's only been on 3.
Unless he was somewhere between Lakers and Knicks, was he?
I don't think he was, now that you bring it up. Now that I say it like that. But All right, great stuff by Sam.
Pelicans for one season.
There it is.
Lakers 4 years, Pelicans 1 season, Knicks 5, Timberwolves 9.
How about that? One more time for the people.
So he was part of that Anthony Davis trade.
All right, we're going to be live tomorrow at 3 p.m. We'll talk to you from Xfinity Live. Football is King is next, followed by On the Clock. Everybody enjoy the rest of your day. Go Phils. And let's get a Game 7. We'll talk to you. Peace.
Caroline Barrega had it all: a loving husband, thriving kids, and meaningful work. Then her